expecting someone else?
Hey everyone, welcome to season 4, episode 18 of the Film Builder Championship podcast. I am Tim. With me is my co-host Patrick. How you doing, buddy?
You expecting someone else?
Yeah. So we saw GoldenEye.
Mm-hmm.
What a picture!
Yes.
And as promised,
What a picture.
Pierce
Pierce
joined
is up
us tonight.
Yes.
By the
Our hairy
Christmas tree.
king, our hairy-chested king, Irish king.
Our Irish, Irishman.
Yes.
It's so interesting. I feel like that's where we can almost start with this, because again, everybody's got their first. I feel like their first Bond movie and their first Bond movie in theaters,
Yep.
and those always, I think, says a lot about a Bond fan or enthusiast. You know, maybe not
100%.
as much the casual fans, but the real hardcore Bond fans. That it says a lot.
You can tell a Roger Moore apologist from a mile away. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, I know which one you saw in theaters first.
Yeah, and for us, Pierce was our first, and so we'll just put it out there, right? We're probably like gonna be way higher on the Pierce era than many because of that, probably, or at least this movie, because it was very formative for us.
Well, this is definitely Pierce's best Bond movie. There's no question
Yes,
about it. It's
without
not
a
even,
doubt.
yeah, there's no real serious competition. This franchise basically failed him.
Yeah,
He was an excellent James Bond, but they never really made another Bond movie worthy of the actor they had in the role.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, this one's special. So like, but you know what? None of his movies are boring. Even if
yeah.
they're not good. Some of them are not, like one of them is not good,
I
but it
mean,
is not boring.
even
So it
Die
never
Another Day is interesting to laugh at and
exactly
just be like, "Oh my God,
and
what is
has
happening here?"
entertaining action sequences and everything like that. So
Yeah,
it never puts me to sleep the way like say Octopussy does,
right,
which
for
is
sure.
the cardinal sin of a Bond movie. Just don't be boring. Don't do
Well, I mean, that's
that.
kind of the problem that I find with Moore is there's too many of those ones for him. You know, as much as I might have been a defender with the Man with the Golden Gun early in my life, but then I've come around to realize I just thought the idea was so cool,
It was
of like almost like an equal to Bond, but then I got Alec. So
sure, yeah,
I did something did it better. So I'm like, and then you kind of get to Gold Gun as an adult, and you're like, oh, this is why this almost killed the franchise. Like this,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Not his finest hour.
And so there's a lot of
Uh,
that for Moore.
Moore had some great stuff though too.
He did.
Um, but yeah, it's yeah. This movie came about 6 years after License to Kill, because of crazy lawsuits going on.
Right.
MGM got bought, and the people who bought them went out of business, and they like the people who bought them were trying to sell Bond TV rights for like bottom dollar just to make money real fast because they really couldn't afford MGM.
Yeah,
And
wasn't
then
this one that did James Bond Jr. and such?
yeah, written by Michael G. Wilson himself.
Yeah, wow.
But, yeah, they could. So then, like the Bond people brought them to court, and like you can't just sell off the TV rights for bottom dollar because we get cut on those rights. That's you have to actually try to get a good price.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, this Bond's in court for 6 years after License to Kill, and well, not full 6 years, but for a bunch of years, and then they start gearing back up, like got to make another Bond. Dalton is still technically under contract, but his contract was basically up. Like they signed him to like a 7-year deal,
Yeah.
and they're like, you can come back. You have the right to come back, but we can't sign you on for just one movie."
Yeah.
And Dalton's like, I'm not doing like 3 more of these. Like you get me for one, or I'm out.
I think he was kind of a surprise because he said no for a little bit before he became Bond, because he's kind of more of
Twice.
a serious actor, almost Shakespearean of such. So it was kind of like a big thing for him to finally say yes, right?
He turned it down to be the man after Connery.
Yeah.
That I'm too young, and he turned it down again for during Moore's era. And then eventually he relented. It's like for Living Daylight. It's like, all right, yeah,
Yeah.
let's go. Brosnan also at that time had he shows up on set for Your Eyes Only for the first time
It wasn't his
because
girlfriend at the time or
his
something
wife,
in it?
his
Yeah, his
wife at the
wife. Okay.
time is playing Constance or something like that. I forget her
Yeah.
name.
And they wanted
She
him
gets murdered
too,
by
but
the
he
Dune
had
buggies. But
TV
well, no,
issues.
no, that comes later.
Okay.
So yeah, he's on set, and that's where he like his wife introduces him to Cubby Broccoli, and they're like, okay, yeah, I like the cut of this
Yeah.
guy's jib. And then he gets on Remington Steele, and they want him to replace Roger Moore. And yeah, Remington Steele gets picked up for another season, and Cubby Broccoli's like, nah, you can't do both.
Yeah.
And it's like he under contract for Remington Steele, so he's stuck. So Timothy Dalton becomes Bond. And yeah, even still, Brosnan was not the first choice for this movie. I think because it had been such a long break, they were a little nervous and thought they should go with a bigger star. So who's hot at that moment? Liam Neeson,
Hmm.
coming off
Yeah.
of Schindler's List.
Yeah.
And supposedly Liam turned it down because his wife said she wouldn't marry him if he took the part. Natasha Richardson, the late great Natasha Richardson. She's like,
Interesting.
no, you can't be. No, no, no. I'm not being married to James Bond. She's seen those movies. They know what Bond does in those. He's like, I'm not comfortable with that.
Okay.
And Liam, supposedly Liam also said he didn't want one of the things he said because he didn't want to blame his wife at first. Like, I didn't want to do action movies. I'm like, okay,
That didn't work out.
hell to that one.
Yeah.
Um, then after that, Sean Connery recommended Mel Gibson. So I don't know how serious that one ever was, just because of how hot Gibson was, and like
Right.
he's I don't think he was ever
That would have
interested
been a
in
lot of money.
committing to a franchise after Lethal Weapon. I was
Yeah.
like, I got my franchise, I'm good. And Hugh Grant supposedly turned it down, but I haven't seen any kind of serious like him talking about it at all.
Yeah.
So I
That
have
would have
no
been a
idea
weird
how
one.
how real that one is.
Yeah.
And then they went like Pierce was available, and they're like, well, we really, always wanted you to be Bond. This was Cubby Broccoli's last decision, big decision on the Bond, because Michael G. Wilson and his daughter Barbara basically really produced this movie.
Yeah.
He sort of just oversaw things a little bit because he's very advanced age. So he died after this movie came out. Um,
Isn't there like an end credit thing
yeah,
for him, if I
yeah,
remember correctly? Yeah.
I believe so. And then runners up for Bond for Pierce Brosnan were one guy who auditioned was Ray Fiennes.
Interesting. We'll come to the franchise later.
Yes. And the runner up though was supposedly Paul McGann. Um,
Not clicking.
no, he wouldn't. But we saw him in a previous season in Alien 3. He was the inmate in Alien 3 who like thought the xenomorph was like a beautiful demon or something like that. He went insane. He was that guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was the runner up to Brosnan.
Interesting.
Yeah, if Brosnan turned it down, he would have been Bond.
What a interesting world we would have had.
Right?
Yeah. And it's weird because it's like it's this movie is always it because I think this movie perfectly and like just get right into hero here, right? Like it like
Well, should we talk about
perfectly.
what GoldenEye is? Or
You're right. You're right. You're right. Right. I guess you go for it as your pick.
All right. The Cold War is over, but James Bond is back. Um, he's got a. Oh man, I should just go into IMDb. What am I thinking?
Yeah, yeah. I thought that
Hold,
was your
hold
thing.
please. Yeah, it
You
is my
you give
thing.
me so much crap about
You
it.
are right. You're right. I'm
I
I'm
thought you would have had it ready to go.
I'm a hypocrite. No, I've been going so unprepared. I'm just going off the dome in this episode.
I know. We talked about that.
When a powerful secret defense system is stolen, James Bond is assigned to stop a Russian crime syndicate from using it. God bless IMDb. They get it.
There you go. That's, I mean, yeah,
Yeah, now let's get
simplified
into it.
niceness.
Hero,
Yeah.
Pierce
Hero.
Brosnan,
Yeah.
James
So
Bond.
I think this movie for him um was amazing, but it also like I guess cursed him later on in the series. It is such a great balance between seriousness, but be able to make a joke and be make a pun, but you know what I mean? Like they balance it so well in this movie that the problem is from the franchise after this for him is just going to go leaning ever so more hard into the comedy and the puns and it being more, you know, silly.
Yeah,
And it's a problem because I think he would have been like a better serious Bond.
well, it's definitely the kind of bonds he wanted to make.
Yeah.
Like, it's fine. I think Daniel Craig and Pierce Brosnan wish they could trade places as far as what
Yeah.
Bond movies they made. Because Pierce was always like pulling, like, can we do something a little more serious and heavy and dramatic? And the producers like, everyone seems to be responding really well to, your boyish humor. So we're gonna keep pushing that
Because he
stuff.
does it incredibly well.
So charming.
But it's well balanced at least in this movie, or at least when he does the boyish charm, it's way more done in a way that's not maybe over the top where it can get a bit more silly in the his future ones. You know what I
Right.
mean?
I think like whenever this movie came out, everyone like was saying that he's like the perfect amalgamation of Sean Connery and Roger Moore,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of truth to that.
Yeah, I think
Um,
so. And ah man, I just love it for this movie. It's just like a bummer when you're seeing it later on, like doesn't always quite work as well.
well, we don't need to go into those movies. We should just talk
Right.
about this movie, how good he
But
is in this
it's always
movie.
why I kind of want to say that because like I think sometimes the other ones almost give him a bad rap. Um and I don't think that's a problem in this movie at all. Like I actually think the balance is so perfect. Like that like it's awesome. He's so good in this movie.
Yeah, no, he's so great in this.
There's some weird people that have a hang up about Remington Steele and who he was as a character in Remington Steele that they had a hard time seeing him as Bond, but I never had any of those hang ups.
Never watched the show, so it's not a
Yeah.
problem for me.
Exactly. So to
Um,
me, it was just perfect. Like he looked awesome with the hair and he looked a little bit more gruff, but still pretty boy at the same time.
yeah, he's got like a 5 o'clock shadow throughout the
Almost.
entire movie.
Yeah.
Almost. Like, this Bond does not believe in a cold shave, at least in this movie. I don't
Yeah.
think this exists in the rest of his franchise for his run,
Probably
but
not. Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I'm like, man, he's got really scruffy in this.
Yeah. And way more ties, less bow tie for
Yeah, he's
Bond in
only
this
in, he's
movie.
only in the tux one time.
Yeah.
So like the funny thing with Brosnan too in this movie, he's so skinny. My man is 6'1" and he weighs
Yeah.
like 164 pounds in this movie.
Yeah. I think that's probably part of the problem too for the later ones is because he does
He bulks up.
he bulks up a little bit more and it's so noticeable that it almost like he comes off almost as fat in the last one when he's not.
Yeah. Now, like whoever did the costume design on
The fencing
the
scene was
fencing
poor.
outfit,
Yeah.
he really did my man dirty.
But he's real
Um,
lean in this movie. He's real lean. He's not
really,
like I wouldn't call him like scrawny because there's still some definition to him, but he's lean.
he's pretty close to scrawny. 6'1" and 164 pounds is thin.
Did you like just laugh and feel sad for him in that little pool?
But how small it is?
The
I don't
pool
know
is
what
so
it.
small and you get this
I
like 6'1", like kind of like
It's enough room
slender
for him to
dude
stretch out.
in
He's not
this
going to do
like pool.
laps. He's
Well, it
just like
almost seemed like they were
enjoying.
trying to make him look like he was doing laps at first, but then it quickly went into, oh, I'm just floating here. I was like, okay, good that you just changed that because it just looks weird.
I don't know. In my mind, my man just got out of the sauna and now he's cooling down.
Now
I don't
to
know.
just taking a quick dip, yeah,
That's just my in my mind, my
fair
head
enough.
canon.
Head cannon, yeah, as we
Um,
like to call it.
but it's interesting. Like this movie, they had Brosnan definitely like it's an interesting balance of like respecting what happened, who the character has been since like 1962,
Right.
while also acknowledging the world has changed.
Yeah.
So like and we'll call him a sexist misogynist dinosaur, and he's
Right.
just like he's taking it with grace. He's like, but
Yeah.
still, but not
Sexist
like
misogynistic dinosaur
not
left over from the Cold
apologizing
War.
for who he is, not still being Bond at the same time.
Yeah. Like
Um,
he'll say the line like
he's
I
still
can
seducing the ladies and having a
well
good
as he's
time.
seducing a lady, right? That he'll say something like I can take orders from ladies or something like that. Like
I
I
can take some
don't
order from. I have no problem taking orders from a woman.
yeah.
Yeah.
But he does these like little, I have no problem with female authority, I think was the line, right?
Hmm.
Or he has another line where I enjoy a woman who pulls rank.
Yes.
Um, and they're always with these just subtle little, almost tip of
Yes.
the caps that just works.
Which, to your point, it's not so subtle in future movies, especially in Tomorrow
Yeah.
Never Dies,
Yeah,
where it's
it's
just
way more like nudge, 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 like what,
yeah, yeah.
but it's not as much in this one.
Um, yeah, Brosnan like does a great job of like being super serious and like you can tell like the betrayal of Trevelyan screws him up a little bit,
Yeah.
um, and he is struggling with this new world just a tiny bit, but he's still quintessentially
Yeah.
Bond.
They have this like a little element of it that I kind of like that they didn't quite play with enough that would have been nice, but it was cool how they were almost trying to go with this like yeah, the Cold War is over, right? And
Right.
like that all this stuff that it's like whatever, we're moving on now and like everything that you were a part of is now gone. So it's like it is interesting like it's would have been interesting done by an older Bond. You know what I mean?
I
This
hear
kind
you.
of role,
Yeah.
and he's not, which was interesting because apparently, right, he there was ideas and talks of Casino Royale being him and being an older Bond.
Was going to be his fifth Bond movie. He really wanted Quentin Tarantino to do a Casino Royale as his
Yeah.
farewell to Bond. As a oh well.
Oh well. We still got a
Yeah.
great Bond movie out of it, so it's like can't complain, right? So,
Hmm.
um, but yeah, so it's interesting this back and forth, but I love how he, he the CIA agent or whatever is
Wade,
he's Wade is not not being quite cooperative at first or whatever, and he's like some
the
stiff ass
stiff ass
Brit,
Brit.
and
Yeah.
then he refers to himself again as like who are you, James Bond, stiff ass Brit or whatever, and it's just like
Right.
it's just excellently delivered the way he does it
Hmm.
right back to him in this nonchalant, not like boom, boom, like it's not done in that way. And it's almost you could miss it if you don't pay attention. Like it's nice.
There is one scene in this movie that doesn't work for me, but actually Brosnan is really good in it, I think.
Oh, interesting.
Is the scene on the beach with Natalia.
Hmm.
Because like her little spiel, it feels like it comes out of nowhere. Not any of the actors' fault. They both do the best they can with it, but I think like his response to it, where it's just like complaining about like you're gonna just kill your friend or whatever, you just can shut off like that. You can be so cold, and he's like, "It's what keeps me alive."
Yeah.
And it's like he's like, but it's like it works. It works really well for me.
It works really well. It is out of no like they do a better job with this in the Casino Royale kind
It's
of
yeah, they give
esque
more
of
to
it.
that for the Craig
They
movies.
they delve that and deeper into that a lot better than they do here. It does seem out of place. It almost seems like too like just a justification to like, you know what? We don't have enough scantily clad women. We might need just like one random bikini shot.
Yeah,
And
but they gave her that little like skirt, so it wasn't so ridiculous. So
I guess sure. I mean, they
respect.
also don't focus on it almost at all.
No,
Like it's very
and then
quick
it
where you
afterwards it
basically see
becomes we're
nothing.
up
It's all
here.
up
Yeah,
here. Yeah, like
yeah.
it's really you really don't actually see this is probably the most clothed women in general for any Bond movie. It's
Depends on
crazy.
how you're watching the movie. If you are watching a Blu-ray at home, the definition in the opening
Oh
credits,
yeah, for sure.
there's
Yeah,
the
that's a
nudity
good point.
quotient goes way up.
They haven't quite gone to the new way of doing it yet, right? So
Yeah,
it's like still real models who are basically naked
it's
and
just
it's like
dancing around naked, like, oh, those are
yeah.
nipples.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's definitely
wow,
something noticeable once the
didn't notice that
4K
in
set came
1995.
out, with almost all the
Blu-ray set.
intros.
I
Yeah.
didn't.
It's like, whoa.
Oh, it's even more ridiculous in like the 60s and the 70s. Like,
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
yeah,
Where it's like basically
Maurice
just
Binder was
projector
a
up or whatever.
beloved pervert, Maurice Binder.
Yeah.
But he's not here for this one. But they still carried on his legacy well.
Yeah. At
Um,
least not too much longer after this, but yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, so
Do you have a
it's
favorite quip for Brosnan in this movie?
I have like a lot.
Oh, a lot. All right. You gotta pick
It
one as a favorite, I think.
probably when they're brought to the jail cell and the guy is like questioning him. He's like, "What? No chit chat? No small talk? Like, see, nobody has a good like a serious
E-
interrogation any techniques
Evil
anymore or whatever."
intelligence or something like that. Nefarious interrogation. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's
No one
like,
takes the time.
"Oh, this is great." And it's like,
Yeah.
right, I think something else happens to like interrupt it, but it's like It's a really awesome moment from him.
Well, that's when they start arguing, and she's like, you know, you're like boys with toys,
Yes, yes, yes. The boys with
which
toys
I
line.
that's actually probably my favorite one later on, where like she asks me, does this happen? You know, they get out of the
Oh,
train
what
after it
is with you in
explodes.
moving vehicles?
Yeah, it's like occupational hazard, and she keeps on staring. I'm like, boys with toys. It's like it's good. That was a really good delivery. I like that a lot.
I was gonna say there's like a lot of good ones from him, and
Yeah,
I'm sure like there's a few here that I have probably in other
go ahead, go
sections
ahead.
that I no no I'm just saying there's
Oh,
like
all
probably a
right,
few that are in other sections that are not in my hero category. You know what I mean?
right.
I like there's another great one in the beginning where Rumov is telling with your hands over your head. How original. And it's such a quick thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that's great.
You know what I want to talk about real quick too, because like I don't know where to put this, but hats off to Martin Campbell and the cinematographer in this movie. I should really look up who it was,
Yeah.
because the way this movie is lit is beautiful.
Yeah.
Like the way they have messed with like bright lights with dark shadows at the same
Yeah.
time, especially the beginning of the movie, because the first we do not see
They
Pierce
really try to
Brosnan
hide his face.
exactly, only in profile
You get
in
his
dark shadow.
eyes at first.
Right.
That's about all you get.
Like, well, until you see like where he's in the toilet hanging upside down, it's like,
Right.
pardon me, forgot to knock. But even then, we're going back to like him, he's skulking around the facility, and we're like, shadow, shadow, bright pencil light right here, which is like, oh, I love it. I love it's so cool. And
Yeah,
like,
even Alec coming out of the shadows, right?
thank
Is
you,
yeah.
exactly what I wanted to say next. Like
Yep.
in that, like I couldn't help but think of that. You remember Sean Astin in the? I don't know if you've ever heard this story because you don't like those movies.
Lord of the
Um,
Rings, I'm guessing.
Yeah, yes,
Yep.
it was in Lord of the Rings. Phil Mayhew, by the way, is the director of photography of this movie and does a fantastic job.
Okay.
Anyway, Sean Astin is filming a scene and he goes up to the DP and he's like, "Hey, where's all this light coming from in this scene?" And the DP just looks at him like, "Same place as the music." So that's what I was thinking of, like Trevelyan is coming out of this crypt, and he's like still kind of like you can't really see his face at all, or anything about him. You just see the profile, and you just hear him talking. You know it's him.
Or you
But
did
there's
like
this
the Soviet
bright
graveyard
light.
moment.
Yes, yes. And
Yeah,
there's
it's a
this
good one.
bright light shining behind him, and
Yeah.
it just looks awesome. And there's all this like there's like these like it's like a little hill like all around this the statue graveyard. And there's like
Yeah.
these bright lights popping up out of them. Like, where's this light coming from? Doesn't make any sense. Looks awesome. I don't
It
care.
looks so cool. And I
Yeah.
think too the music as you almost talk about too brought up music owns it in that too. Like it almost brings this almost like horror-ish quality to it.
Real hit and miss for me in the music in this movie. Uh,
Yeah, sometimes you're like this is super weird and then sometimes you're like this is awesome. Like the
Within seconds of each other, the gun
just the
barrel
bear.
sequence.
Yes, exactly. I was
Yes.
about to say this. The gun barrel thing is just like what is going on here?
And
What
then
era are
and
we
then
in?
immediately switches to like, oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is all over the place. And then like the car chase
Yeah,
music
that's
too.
the one everyone points out is like the worst bit. Like,
But it's
what is
like there's parts of it that work. It's weird.
I never
Like
bothers me as much as that gun barrel sequence.
when the
Yeah,
car
I hear you.
spins out and the music kicks a little bit differently in that moment, and I really dig it. So there's like moments in that sequence where it's cool, and there's moments where you're like, this is bizarre. And you're right, throughout the whole movie, like even the end credits, you're like, what just happened?
Where it's like all the Sting song all of a sudden.
Yeah,
You know what? It doesn't bother me so much in that sequence that we're talking about, that the chase sequence between him and Anya Top
yeah,
in the beginning of the movie, just because it's sort of like playing for playful. So I don't mind that it's being weird at that moment.
fair.
Because if it was like a serious action scene, that's bad guy versus good guy, I'd be
Yeah.
like. But since we're being playful and weird at that moment, because he's got
It's a
the
rare
girl in
thing
the
to
car with
have a
him.
playful action sequence, right? Like
Yeah, it is.
it's fun.
I think it's pretty unique for this franchise. You're right.
You're right.
Yeah. So should we rank this Bond, this character, and move on to the next?
I got a five.
Of course, I have a 5 too.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult. Like
You think I'm
again,
giving my Irish hairy-chested James Bond King less than a 5? No, I can't.
yeah, like he's on my dang wall for crying out loud from this movie. You know what I mean? Like it's like
I love that man's chest hair is popping out from the very first scene. True. Alec is like a little more buttoned up, and he's still got like, yeah, spreading out.
I just there's nothing cooler than him, I feel like in this freaking movie. And I swear like it's like
I
I felt like I because our parents, at least mom, right, like really went hardcore on getting all the VHS tapes, stuff like that for a
Yeah,
lot of
it's
them.
definitely
So
mom. But
we
yeah.
definitely got introduced to Bond stuff before
It was legit a
GoldenEye.
surprise to me that Dad liked this franchise too until the day we went to go see GoldenEye.
Yeah, and like all of a sudden he was like super excited. I
Yeah, he
agree.
never
Yeah.
watched them with us
Yeah. I also weirdly remember when we purchased Honor Majesty's Secret Service and Letterbox, and we were so devastated by this.
because it was the only way we could get it. Yeah,
Yeah, and like it's kind of weird
we
now
were
that it's
so
like
dumb.
yeah, exactly. Um, but like
What do you mean we could only get it in widescreen? This is terrible news. I don't want to see this movie this way. I could only get Jaws that way too
yeah,
on VHS, and I was like devastated. Like, oh, and I'm like, now I'm like, you
we were
idiot,
idiots. Yeah,
so
for
dumb.
sure.
Yeah.
But like it's well, so we were introduced to Bonds, right? But they were always older Bonds and I enjoyed them, but to me it just always seemed old, right?
Oh,
So
really?
well, because they were older movies, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So I don't know, is there something about seeing him in a formative era on a big screen, you're like, this guy is so cool.
Yeah, that's my Bond.
So
Yeah.
it's just my Bond, and it's just kind of it's gonna be hard to not put at five because of that.
Yeah. To be for the record, though, I don't think there's ever been a bad James Bond. There's definitely I do have to definitely have a ranking system, but I don't think
Yes.
there's ever been a anyone bad in the role.
I mean, people have their picks on who was bad, but we obviously defend them. But we're
I
also
will
like,
defend all of them to anyone, but I have
yeah,
a ranking system without a doubt.
sure. But we're also like the wrong people to really, I feel like, judge. Like, as we said before, right? Like, the worst James Bond movie is still enjoyable for us.
Yes, 100%.
So,
Even if I fall asleep during Octopussy, I still had a good time. I just had a good nap. It's fine.
yeah. And we
Yeah.
at least know the moments where we can get up for the movie, more.
Yes. So, villain, Tim, this is where you shine. This is your moment to cook.
Um,
I don't think Tim's ever loved a villain as much as Alec Trevelyan. Sean
man,
Bean. Tim is like at least the VP of the Sean Bean fan club.
I love Sean Bean. I
You
really
do.
do. There's so much
That's how I got
gravitas
him to
to
watch
him.
Game of Thrones, I think.
It was definitely what got me into Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
It got me to Lord of the Rings. I showed up to Lord of the Rings, which is not my thing because Sean Bean was in it, and then Sean Bean dies, and I was like, I hate this movie. And then of course the ongoing joke of Sean Bean always dying. Um,
Literally like it wasn't even like an internet joke at the time when Game of Thrones came out.
yeah.
And I texted Tim like after I took him like a year and a half. I think we were into the second season by the time I got Tim to watch it. And I was like, "Were you really surprised that Sean Bean died?" And he was like, "No, they always do that to him, man."
I swear, I think the only thing he didn't
Wasn't
die
he?
in was Silent Hill.
I think they killed him off in the second one. Wasn't he the? Didn't he?
I don't
Wasn't he
know.
the dad in Ever After too? So he dies.
Oh, I don't remember. Maybe. But I
I might be
mean,
making that
I,
up.
I enjoy I enjoy all the behind the scenes stories about him. Um, I just think he's another one that's just so freaking cool. And again, like so many Bond movies, right? So many. The main villain is not really a threat to Bond. He might be a mental threat, he's not really a physical threat or something, right? That's the typical thing, right? In every single Bond movie. And this is the first time that you have a villain that matches him in every way.
Not the first time. I counted three.
Okay.
So you had Scaramanga. Christopher Lee could definitely take out Roger Moore.
Okay. Fair. All right. Fair enough.
Don't get me started on how like badass and cool Christopher Lee is.
No, you're right. You're right.
Christopher Lee, who told Peter Jackson, "That's not the way it sounds when you slice a man's throat,"
Right. Yeah. Because he knows.
because he knows. Number two, Christopher Walken in View to a Kill. Because remember, he's like the Russian like
Oh
super
yeah.
agent.
Yeah, you're right. You're
It's like
right.
the
You're right.
genetically modified. And this is the third and last time in the franchise where
That's
the
fair.
main villain is a physical threat and intellectual threat for James Bond.
I think too, but there's like other elements to this because there's such a personal connection too, right?
Yeah, no, it's
That
definitely
like
more interesting.
he already knows everything about the double O's and every the program, just like he already knows M. He already knows Moneypenny. He even references Moneypenny. He already knows about the gadgets, like, oh, new model I see on the watch, and he knows how to turn off his bombs.
Oh, do I
Like,
still press here? Yeah.
yeah, and it's just like, oh, that's so cool,
Yeah, it is.
right? And I love too where um the moment where he tells Bond about what our female lead tastes like. Um
Strawberries.
and he's like, I wouldn't know. Oh, I
I
do.
would.
Or I
I
would,
would.
right? He
I
immediately
do.
jumps and you see like a light because
Yeah.
he knows that's gonna piss off Bond and he
Yeah.
knows that's twisting the knife.
Yeah.
And that kind of so not only is he a physical and mental threat, he is a emotional one for Bond.
Hmm.
And that's pretty freaking rare.
That is unique.
Yeah. And
Yeah. And
that's
it's
why this
plus
villain is cool.
it's only like the second or third time we've ever seen, I mean, like not counting that scene in Thunderball, another double O.
Yeah.
So it's it's
Yeah.
it's it's really interesting from that point.
Yeah,
Um,
and you gotta like the back and forth for them at the end. It really does seem like they're an even match.
it's a good fight. I mean, I
It
wanted to get into
is.
that in action, but
Oh, for
yeah,
sure.
it's a
But I
good
just want to
fight.
get into that part of
Yeah,
it of what this villain really is and why he's such an awesome villain. And like, yes, they can go toe to toe physically. He clearly outsmarts Bond a few times here. And again, that emotional thing that he knows how to get him emotionally revved up is just why is he not he looks cool too. He also looks awesome. You know what I mean? Like
Sean Bean
he's
also auditioned for Bond at one point in his career. I think every serious actor,
right.
English actor, does at some point. Um, yeah, but he's definitely got that suave double O. Like I could definitely see this guy also being a secret agent on
Yeah.
a Magic Secret Service. He's great in this movie.
He is awesome.
My only criticism with this character,
Bond, only Bond.
I love that part so much.
Isn't it great when he sees the tank come in? Bond,
It's
only Bond.
Bond, yeah. My only criticism with this character is his motivation is murky at times. Um,
Some people just
so
want to
like
see the
I
world burn, I guess, and get rich at the
well,
same time.
it's like he seems definitely angry about his past,
Right.
about what England betraying the Cossacks, which is actually a really cool nugget that I wish the Bond producers would dig on more.
Yeah.
Like
I
because
think it's also
England has
tied to
gotten to
him feeling betrayed in general of the Cold War transition.
I don't know about that part. My issue
Because he
was
says that line about
right. He
like
says that line, but I think he's more like being in general, like everything you did was for nothing, and or like it's like that. That could be just the mission.
I just think it's a
Um,
collection
you
of
threw over,
things.
we threw out a dictator, but it's for nothing.
Yeah.
But you're right. It is a collection of things. Everything with that stuff works for me really well. But he's also kind of like oddly angry at Bond at times, but also says like, I thought about bringing you in on this. So I'm like,
Well, clearly he's a psycho, but yeah, he thought about bringing him in because I think they clearly both legitimately liked each other at some point, right?
you could
Like,
tell that from the opening scene
yeah,
when they
because even in towards that end action fight where he's clearly got Bond, he freezes. He could have just shot and killed Bond. He doesn't at first. He freezes. You know what I
oh, you
mean?
mean the ladder?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think there's something there personally
But it's
about
just
that.
because like he's a Bond villain. At his heart, he's still a Bond villain.
Sure,
So it's not enough to
sure.
win. He has to twist the knife,
But
and it's that moment where you twist the knife that's where Bond succeeds.
yeah,
Where you want to do that. And it's like, you tried to peacock. You tried to peacock on Bond. That's going to cost you.
yeah, that's true. But yeah, I don't know. Like I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Like it could
But
have been
like
a
for
little
some
bit
reason, like
connected or
he
more
starts
there.
talking about he makes motions saying like I feel betrayed by you because you switched the timers from 6 to 3 and now my face is a little scarred up on one side.
Yeah, you're supposed to
And like
die for me. I thought we were friends.
yeah,
This
I'm
kind
like
of thing. Like even though I was totally willing, that's why he's a sociopath, right? I'm totally willing for you. You're gonna die in this moment, right? For me to do my plan here. Um, but man, you like kind of I thought we were buds and you're gonna let me kind of die in this way is kind of messed up, is what his weird warped reality of thinking.
Another thing too, I love, and this is just a weird tick from, I guess, for me. There's that scene where we've already talked about like this guy's an obvious physical threat, and he's great at that with fighting
Yeah.
with Brosnan, and it helps that Brosnan is so skinny to make him even seem more of a physical threat because there's a height difference, and you can tell throughout the movie. Uh, but that scene when they get onto the train, right? And you see him eating breakfast, and he's
Hmm.
being so proper and English and a gentleman while he's eating. Like the English have this way of eating that's just so cultured versus all the rest of
Right.
barbarians. And but like so he can do that too. Just like, he's like carefully with the napkin
Yeah.
and everything like that. And then but at the same time, he can be a guy who can throw a right hook, no problem. So it's like this is so
Well,
cool.
reality, this
I
dude
love
knows how to get
this.
into a bar fight. That's
Yeah,
for
this
sure.
this guy knows how to fight. This guy knows how to shoot. This guy is clever, and he's also super cultured. This is like the
Yeah.
anti James Bond, and I love that.
Yeah.
He's the Bizarro Bond.
I mean, I just there's so many good deliveries too, and like, is that true? What is true is in 48 hours, you and I will be richer than God. And it's just like the way the way
Oh,
sometimes these
he's
lines are
really
delivered
upping his English, like cultured side in this
yeah,
movie. So yeah, absolutely, which makes him even more delicious because he does like as good as any of the billionaire bad guys that Bond has fought in the past, but also his own muscle.
yeah.
So it makes him so cool. Like
And I like
it's very
to
rare in this franchise. It's only happened like three times.
yeah, and he doesn't like that which is a nice moment for Bond where Bond starts to turn it back on him too, where he starts calling him a common thief, right? And that really upsets him and gets him going
Nothing more than
on
a bank robber.
yeah, on his little rant, which is really nice.
Right.
But
So
yeah, all the vodka martinis, or is it all the vodka martinis, and like all the women in the world couldn't like cover up, like, because
all the men
he's
you've
like,
killed.
don't
Yeah.
Freud me, basically,
Right,
like,
right.
yeah, and then he's like comes at him like, all those vodka martinis don't cover up all the people you killed, and all the women you slept with does not help justify all the women that died, that
Hmm.
didn't make it through because of you or whatever. And it was just like, man,
Oh, Bean's great.
yeah.
So what'd you give him?
It's crazy because I guess you put the other ones inside characters. I put other characters
Oh, you
in
want to talk
this.
about Xenia? Okay, we'll talk
I
about
put
Xenia. That's
Xenia here, and I also put Orumov in here.
you're right. Orm, really?
Yeah, I put
Okay.
both. I think they both have
You're
legitimate.
right. Let's talk about Xenia. You're right. You're absolutely right. Let's talk
Of
about
course,
Xenia.
like the first half of this movie, you don't even get Sean Bean.
Yeah, it takes a while.
Really, the first half of the movie is Xenia and it's Orumov. Those are the two
Yeah.
villains for the first portion of this movie. That's why I thought they deserved to be in this category.
Okay. Sure.
So which one do you want
Especially
to go with
Xenia.
first?
Xenia for sure first.
Xenia for sure first. Okay.
Xenia on the top.
Xenia on the top,
On
on
the
the
top.
top.
On top. My
Um,
man.
oh my
MK
gosh.
Jansen.
Oh my. Well, first off, this movie for you more than anyone puts you down a path on like this woman forever. Um,
Forever.
for you,
Yep.
like, yeah. Not to say I don't obviously have quite a thing, but you you definitely took it to another level, man. When you found out that she was cast as Jean Grey, you're like, let's go.
You know what's so annoying? I'm watching this movie again for like, I don't know, the 50th time.
Yeah.
And she is so goddamn good in this movie. And no movie
Is
has let her be this cool and freaky again.
well, House on
Except
Haunted
for
Hill.
maybe yeah, you're right. House on Haunted Hill probably
She's
might be the only
allowed to
other
be a lot of
exception.
fun in House on Haunted Hill.
But like
But
everything,
yeah,
it's like
otherwise, I totally
I
agree with
don't
you.
know if Hollywood decided we don't make these parts for women that are this cool. We don't want her to be or she decided like, I'm going to just stay away from I don't want to be typecasted in those kind of parts. I don't know what happened, but it sucks that we didn't get her to just like cook like this again because she is great. When she is on
Fantastic.
screen, you are like
She's electric.
captivated. Yeah.
She's electric in every scene, and it's thank goodness. I think there's so many good characters in this movie in general. um that she doesn't completely blow anyone out of the water when she's on, you know what I mean? Like so like it doesn't make anybody else look bad by how good she is in her moments, you
Right,
know what I'm
right.
saying?
She's not Denzeling or anything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yes. And right from we don't talk about the action sequence, but her smiles and enjoyment just in the car chase stuff
It's hot.
is
So
just
hot.
so much fun, right? They play baccarat. Everything with the baccarat table is so much fun from her too.
Like the way that she is basically evil James Bond.
Yeah.
She's like, id evil James Bond.
Right, but the
And
female version, which is
yes,
so cool. Yeah.
yes. And it's just like she has the same interest in racing, killing, and all that stuff that Bond,
Sex,
sex, poker, whatever.
smoking,
Um,
old school James Bond.
right. Yeah. So Martin Campbell wouldn't let Pierce smoke in this movie.
Yeah.
He has a distaste for smoking, so only bad guys smoke.
But she's
Uh,
got like the whole like long cigar thing
I
as she's
know.
playing
I
and looking
know.
fabulous as she's doing it and
Yeah.
mocking him at the
Everybody
table.
in the movie has like an amazing face card. Like just
Yeah.
like, oh my God. Everyone in this movie is like 10 out of 10 gorgeous human
Yeah.
being. But she really stands out to me.
Yeah.
And
Orders a vodka martini as well, but straight up with a
straight up with
twist. And
twist.
she does the whole cigar thing. Is like, oh my gosh, woman.
Yeah, I know. And like you could see like Brosnan's like,
Yeah. And
hmm.
of course, the whole like you gotta love too where he goes on the top. And she's like, I know exactly what you're thinking, basically, on the top.
Oh, the way
Like you
she gets
just
bored with it with him
yeah.
too, which is actually is such a great Bondism for her on her own. Just like she's the
Yes.
oh, like you said, being anti crazy James Bond. She's like, yeah, you
She
know,
she hates and gets so annoyed by him, but then other times when Bond is really going like,
yeah,
I
when it's
gotta do something
physical,
nuts,
yeah,
then she's like, I love this. Like, how about, and I know we're slightly jumping ahead with her, but that moment with the tank on the tracks, and she's like, he's going to derail us. And
yeah,
she's like excited, like, oh, like orgasmic excited in this moment. And it's like, oh my God, that's so
yeah.
deranged. I love
I
it.
mean, it's like the 10th time she does that this week. Like the time where she's
Yes.
like murdering everybody at Serenaya.
Yeah. And
And like,
basically
and
having an
she's,
or it's like panting.
and like, I love Orumov just like looking at her like,
I know. I was gonna save that for his stint, but yes, it's a
he's
great
freaked
look.
out by her and then kind of turned on at the same time afterwards. He's like, he goes through the whole gamut of emotions. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, man, I get it. I'm right there with you.
I
That's,
had to
whew,
ventilate or something. Or someone. What is it? I had to
I
ventilate
had to
someone?
ventilate someone. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love it.
I mean, yeah, the way she takes out the admiral in the sex
Oh,
scene, or even the whole thing about the woman who pulls rank. Like, what is your whatever thing in the DMV? Where's your ranking in the DMV? Commander. And it's like, oh, he's an admiral, whatever. I love who pulls rank. But again,
yeah.
the back and forth between them, this
She does the
entire
repertoire really
movie,
well. Yeah.
yeah, is out of this world.
Once again, the pleasure was all yours.
Yeah,
You know?
and again, so annoyed and mad
I love it.
in that car, all right, which is so much fun.
And you
Every
buy her in every action scene she's in too.
yes,
She's
like
just a
I
tall woman.
wish the action sequence between the two of them in the bath was longer.
You could have gone longer with that.
I could have gone longer, a little bit more back and forth. Like I really liked that moment, right?
Brosnan actually broke her rib
Oh,
in
really?
that scene, slamming her against a wall. She told him, do it for real.
Dang,
It'll be better that way. And she had to really coax him into it because Brosnan is a very sweet gentleman and was like,
right?
I'm not doing that. But
I'd
she's like,
imagine.
come on, I do it. And he did it. And yeah, he broke her rib. Uh,
Ow!
yeah, whoops. But
Whoopsie!
God,
Blearch. What is it? Is it Blearch? Is that what it is? Do you know what that means? Because I have no idea. I didn't look it up.
I do. Uh,
Can we not say it on this podcast?
well, I've said a lot of.
That's true.
Okay. She's basically the perfect translation is horror. But supposedly it's also interchanged in whatever Russian or Georgian. Fuck.
Because she's
So
supposed to be Georgian.
she is Georgian. But she's
Yeah.
saying she's saying horror, but it's also interchangeable with fuck.
Hmm.
So yeah, she is straight up cursing in a Bond movie in a different language.
Okay. Because I mean, the way she seems to be there's times where she says it where I can get where it might be the F word, and there's times where she's directing it to somebody where I can see where it's the other way around.
Right. Yeah, like I said, it's interchangeable. You're right.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
Uh, oh God, yeah. Famke.
I
G for
mean,
life, that
yeah.
one.
You
G for
gotta love
life.
too, like where right before they steal the helicopter, right? And the helicopter pilot's like, "Oh, I think I've gone to heaven." Not
Not
yet,
yet.
and then and then kills. It's like, oh my gosh.
She's so good.
Um, yeah, she's
She
excellent.
gets to wear lots of fun outfits in this movie too, which is really
She
cool.
does.
Really, like she gets to have more fun outfits than the Bond girl, which is unheard of in this franchise.
Yeah, I mean, really, again, mostly clothed because even in that one, like the sex scene with the admiral, she's wearing like a whole corset thing, is really mostly all clothed.
I would say the most unclothed is when she's just in the bathrobe with Bond in the
and
sauna.
and it is in a
It's a
not
big
revealing
terry cloth.
bathrobe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
that's why I was wondering. Like, is
She
that
reveals
beach
like half a
scene?
shoulder.
That beach scene later is like, all right, we need something. Give me something of
It's
like
like yeah, Cubby Broccoli was
someone's
like
torso.
Cubby Broccoli was just like speaking up from the back, like, "Hey, got kids, I love what you're doing here. We're gonna need a little TNA, just a little bit. Come
Just
on,
a little. Just
trust me. I've been doing this for a while."
it is shocking how little there is for a Bond movie.
You're not wrong. It's
Yeah,
the '90s. They were so concerned and cognizant that this is the '90s and a new era. Like Bond hadn't been around for a little while, and like a lot had changed in 6 years.
yeah.
So they were like definitely trying to push that kind of stuff.
You could really tell. Like there is a noticeable difference.
Between this movie and like where it ends up in, and like say, Die Another Day. Not even
Yeah,
Die Another Day. I was gonna say, actually, World's Not Enough. Even it gets more back to like standard Bond stuff
yeah,
with the TNA sex stuff.
yeah. I'd
To its
say,
detriment.
yeah.
Damn, Christmas. Anyway,
Christmas
um,
Jones.
I don't. Let's not talk about it.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, a different podcast one day, maybe.
So one day, um, yeah,
Xenia on
Xenia
top.
is
Again, another good
one of
threat.
the best, easily a top five henchman for the whole franchise.
Yeah, and it's a female henchman, and
Has
clearly,
a distinctive way that she prefers to kill people.
yeah,
You will instantly recognize her. Just like you're not going to confuse her with anyone else.
yeah.
Oh,
Great back and
God.
forth with Bond
Yeah,
himself and
usually the
his
henchman doesn't get to do that part, but she does.
yeah, and really has like some nice back and forth, and like you gotta love the some of the line deliveries from her herself, which is just like not many henchmen get to deliver
No.
lines like this.
Hmm.
Not many. I mean, if there are some, like
I guess there's only one more. Like, because I get because in Diane in World's Not Enough. Um, I'm not sure. I guess technically it's the guy.
I
Oh
get what you're
God, what's his
saying.
name?
Yeah, the guy from Train Spotting, what's his name?
Yeah,
And
God,
yeah,
I also said Train Spotting too. I can't remember his name
I know you're talking
also.
about. It's sad because there's so much potential with that villain, and then he ends up basically being the henchman. I get what you're saying, but
Robert Carlyle.
yes, yeah,
Yeah. Uh, which I like. I appreciate that it was only the second time in Bond history that tried to do a plot twist.
yeah,
Well, third time I guess now because they did kill him Casino Royale.
sure,
But um, yeah, I guess he turned it because he got some fun lines.
yeah.
Really nothing in Die Another Day.
I want to even talk about some of her lines in that sauna scene, but I don't want to give it too much of the
Okay, we'll
action
talk
away.
about an
So I
action.
feel like
Okay,
we can save it. You know what I
all right,
mean?
all right. So Ormov, you want to talk about Ormov then?
Yes, I do. God, I love him.
So Boris goes into side characters.
Yes, I put Boris aside because he really
Okay,
does not have a whole lot of screen time. His screen time is
feels like
pretty
he does.
reduced.
Well, what he does in Aces, so it's fine. I'm happy
Don't
to put him in
worry, that
supporting
category
character
is going to
too.
do well as well for me. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah,
Um, no, but like for so the beginning, right? You get the past thing. So he's a colonel at first, right? And man, do I love everything from him just in this beginning thing.
he's
Uh,
such a good face actor.
he really is. And again, another one that delivers
I love
some
how
lines. It's
I
so
love how
good.
amused he is when Bond is like moving the gas
He's like
canisters.
smiling about it, like this is cute.
Yeah.
Like, I can't wait to see what you're
I
gonna think
can't
of
believe he's
next.
doing this. This
Yeah.
is so dumb,
And
but
and
clever
then
at
I
the same
love like,
time. The tank
the guys who
chaser.
are
He's like,
shooting at first is like, stop it! Just shoot the canisters or whatever, right?
yeah,
You'll
you blow the canisters. Yeah.
It's so great. And then like he does the whole sneaking across, rolling the thing across, and he's
He,
smiling. And
he,
then a guy's
he.
like all nervous and then
Yeah.
shoots, and then he immediately just goes stone cold face,
Right.
shoots, and then turns back and then gives us like the help. You know what I mean?
Continue.
Like
Yeah.
continue what you're doing. And it's like, oh my God, that was amazing.
You can't win.
I love repeating that line. In that cadence. I swear I've probably done it to my own children before.
If you want to go
Yeah.
ahead.
Oh, I mean, you've already done it now. I don't know if I
That's okay. Go ahead. You
can.
can.
You can't win. Like it's just so it's so good. And then you gotta love too, where he does like get out of it.
Hmm.
And I will save that for action. But again, he puts on this other look of like,
Oh
oh
shit!
my, what's happening? Like, oh my
Didn't
gosh.
see
And
that
then
coming.
yeah, and then you gotta love how he's everything of him yelling, even in the next action sequence on the airplane Mac, and then um,
He tells
he
everyone to stop. He's like, just gonna. I
yeah,
gotta see this play out. Everyone
exactly.
stop.
It's
He's like,
so much fun. Like, what is he gonna do? Like,
like
he's got no way out, right? And then he's like almost the audience, but a villain. Like,
exactly. It's a good point.
what?
My favorite is all the faces he has during the tank chase
Oh
are
my
just
gosh,
out of
yes.
this world great. With him
He
swigging
almost
his whiskey or
becomes
whatever.
unhinged
Yeah.
in that moment. Like he's really losing it. Like
He's
all
absolutely a
this
mess by the time he gets on the train.
betrayal stuff, I guess, maybe, and everything and the running away, and he like cannot get rid of Bond. He starts drinking a ton from his flask. There's so much facial expressions of every time Bond comes back up that he's like, oh my God, he's taking go down the alleyway. I'm gonna take another drink, like oh my God.
By the time he gets on the train, like Trevelyan is there eating breakfast and he just grabs all the plate, takes a bite, so it's like,
Yeah.
fucking
This
guy.
guy, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, even before that too, where he goes to report to the council and the defense
Oh, yeah.
minister,
It's like there were
right?
two. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's talking to the defense minister, and there's two, and he's like, and again, the
There are two
facial
missing. Yeah.
expressions
It just changes. Yeah.
completely changes, and he's like, oh shit. Like, I
I
didn't know
was not aware of
this.
that. Thank you
Yes.
for bringing it to my attention.
Yes. Because he's like about to resign, but like now he can't because now it looks
Well,
really
he threw
bad.
out the fake resignation. Yeah. Yeah. Which he knew
Yeah.
they were going to reject.
Which
Oh.
it's so much fun. Um, and it's the only sad part is I think he goes out way too quick when he does go
Yeah.
out.
He's got a weak death. No doubt
Yeah.
about it. So, where do you want to rank this now, or have you have any more to
Yeah, I
say?
think that's all I had. I mean, we talked rightfully so mostly about Trevelyan, but I just needed to talk about I thought those other two were
You're
just
right about Xenia. I really
they're both in it a
I
quite
screwed up by
because
not.
really it's the joint together of them
Hmm.
is like the because you got this Giannis or whatever and you don't know what it is and then eventually he comes out and that's like the last maybe 45 minutes of the movie. And Trevelyan's back, you know what I mean? So it's like I really feel like the other two are the main villains for the first half, so that's why I thought that. But I went five again.
Did you?
Shocker. I did. You do you, buddy. But
Well,
where's
I
where's
had
the
this.
downfall?
I was only thinking about Alec, and I told you my one criticism with Alec. So I
Mhm.
was ready to go 4.5.
Because of the criticism. And then
And
I threw the
now
other two in
now you made me think like Xenia. I'm like, oh no. I really, really love Xenia, and Aramov is awesome in this movie too.
Yep.
Even though,
And I think they're all joint villain. I think they all have a lot of screen time.
and like even you could, I mean, we're going to talk about him as side character, which I don't care because this movie is an embarrassment of great characters.
Yep.
You're right, it's 5.
Thank you. I don't get a lot of wins. I'll take it.
Action.
Ah, man. The original action hero, Patrick. Um, James Bond. I will always remember that ad. Um, for Bond movies. Yeah,
It's just is the great is the GoldenEye teaser trailer, which I don't know what we're gonna play at the beginning of this podcast, either just the music or the trailer. Is that
I
the
already played the trailer just audio wise in the last episode.
Oh, did you?
I did. As soon as we start, as soon as you say we both end up going GoldenEye, it actually I already think I have the trailer starting
Oh, that's cool.
before we say it. So, and I play the whole audio of the
I
trailer.
I love you, brother.
Yeah, thank you. I try.
Is that teaser trailer like a top five greatest
Yes,
all-time
without a doubt.
trailers?
Without a doubt. It's one of the best. Like it's just it's next level, you know, the music, expecting someone else, and then like they're just throwing so much action at you with again one of the coolest versions
Of the Bond
of the
theme, yeah, by
Bond
Pat
theme
Affair, yeah.
ever, and rarely used.
So well, let's get into action.
Yeah.
We get to start off with the dam jump, right? What a
What is
stunt!
there to say? Like
What
it's
a stunt!
so like whoa. Can we
Blows
also
me.
say the miniature work in this movie?
In we can talk about that later, but we're talking about this. This is not miniature at all.
No, but like it starts off with miniature and then it goes close up. But at least I think it did. There's so much miniature work going seamlessly in things. It's kind of hard
More than you
sometimes.
probably even think. But
Yeah, probably. But anyway,
this
yes.
stunt is which is real,
Yeah.
100% real. My guy jumped off, not Pierce Brosnan.
Not Pierce Brosnan. Yeah.
My guy jumped off of the dam and went bungee jumped at 700 feet, the largest bungee jump in movie history. Um, that's Big Ben on top of Big Ben plus like another 100 feet.
It's nuts. It's
um,
crazy to watch. And you gotta love
and
too how all it does, the audio works so well for this.
yeah, it just cuts
It
out
just almost
almost.
just goes sound. So all you hear almost just sounds like just
You just hear the
wind.
chains on his like feet as it's all like
Well, that,
connecting
but
and
I think you
snaps
also just
and
got the, you know what I mean? Like just kind of like whatever kind of wind going on.
I don't know if the
And
mic picked
just,
that up, but yeah.
but you're okay, yeah, you're probably right. But you know what I mean? It's just like,
Oh,
whoa.
it's crazy. It's in the trailer and it blew me away on a big screen. Still blows me away on my TV today.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
awesome.
it's
But and you
like
get like
listening to.
gadgets right away, right? You get the little grappling thing to
I'm
get them
glad
in
you mentioned it, the
closer.
piton shooter. So like the stuntman talked about like doing this scene, and he's like, "Yeah, before I jumped, I saw someone do the sign of the cross, and that didn't help." And then he jumps off, and like halfway through the jump, he's like thinking about like, "Oh, Martin's gonna be so angry at me if I don't pull out the gun. I gotta find this stupid gun. I gotta get this out of here." So he has to like he's falling to his you know he's falling 700 feet in the air.
Yeah,
He has to remember to pull out this gun. He just to get it out there so he gets his shot right. So they can do the later close up with Pierce, like where they shoot the gun, the piton into the ground and
right. Where
record
they
it. It's
perfectly shadow him and everything.
oh, it's great stunt.
It is.
Uh,
It's so much fun. It's impressive, and again, it's so well the way they seamlessly go with the close up and the and shroud, and so you get a gadget right away.
hmm
And so not only does that piton thing get him in close, but then immediately you're got the watch again, going with the lasering and getting him in and whatever. And it's just like, oh man, they're like impressive stunt right off the bat,
Yep.
gadgets right off the bat.
Yep.
It's like, wow, this is like got some serious checks right to start with this movie.
Jokes, and then another action scene like follows right after that, where we're
Yeah,
in like was it facility or complex in the first level of GoldenEye? I can't
I think it's
remember.
facility.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great level, great game.
And it's like pretty like close. It's like, oh yeah, wow, that bathroom is identical to the N64 and the stairwell and everything.
It's so
Um,
perfect.
yeah,
Everything is perfect in that game.
it's just so
But like
good.
the scene with all the gas tanks and everything like that, and then Bond escaping from the gas tanks, uh, getting onto the plane, falling off the plane, getting on a motorcycle,
Wait,
going
what?
off the cliff, which that is another stunt. It's a real stunt. Plane going off the cliff, guy going off the cliff with the motorcycle, and then jumping off the motorcycle. That's a real person.
Right, but then defying gravity is a whole other thing.
Yeah, all of a sudden, Bond defeats terminal velocity
Yeah,
and gets onto the plane, um, and then pulls up in time for just getting over it. Giant explode, flies over the facility, and it's a giant explosion. And whoo, what a Bond opening!
it is. I mean,
What
you
a
gotta.
pre-credit sequence!
I love the Alec, there's a draft, which they'll come back with later to the callback. I love them just shooting out the window and then all breaking it in kind of deal. That looks all cool. I
Right?
love how right away they establish when someone gets shot with a machine gun in this movie, they go flying back.
Yeah,
And that's throughout the movie, and I love it every time you see people go, and
right.
they
They don't
just
just
go
like fall
backwards.
down.
I just love it. And then you gotta love too, again, where he goes on the conveyor belt, shoots. I just love the way
The miracle shot where he hits the
uh
hook and
he
it
hits the hook,
causes
but I love the
four
way
canisters to
Brosnan
come
shoots a
falling
machine
down.
gun in this movie.
Yeah,
He just shoots and they all come tumbling down after everybody. It's so cool. Then he tumbles out of the conveyor belt on the other end. I
yeah.
mean, again, when he gets on the bike, like it's great. Or with the airplane door pops open and he uses the bad guy's gun to shoot at the guy on the bike, like right at the right time.
Hmm.
It's just, oh gosh, it's cool. The only thing that's missing, and it's always bugged me, but I think I understand why it works
They didn't play the Bond theme.
when the plane goes up, is when the Bond theme's supposed to play, but
They go into the GoldenEye song from Tina Turner
which is
instead.
good, but
Great song.
I think why that's important for me is they held back on the Bonds theme.
They used it at the right time. Yeah.
Exactly. I really think it was no, no, no. Everybody knows we're going to play the Bond theme a lot. We're not going to do that this time. We're going to play the Bond theme when it really deserves to be played, and we're going to
Yeah.
wait for the perfect moment. And they did.
I don't think Martin Campbell likes that Bond theme. Watch Casino Royale.
Yeah, for sure. But my God, when we get to it, it is my
It's
favorite
perfect.
Bond moment of all time. It's actually probably arguably my favorite action mode of all time.
Mm,
And
okay.
if it's not the favorite, it's in my top three, without a doubt.
Okay. Um, well, the next bit would be like the racing scene between him and
Yes,
Xenia. It's a good little car chase scene. I like that
it
we're back in the
is.
DB5.
The
Cars,
camera angles too.
camera loves the DB5.
Oh, it's gorgeous. Or even, was it a Corvette? I can't remember that
It
she's
was a, I
in.
think it was a Ferrari, but I could
Is
be
it a
mixed up.
Ferrari? I can't remember. But there's some shots too where like she cuts over like on the rocks to get ahead of him or whatever and slides down, but it's on the little bottom wheel area, almost like what we saw a lot in the Junkman. You know what I mean? Like it's just like, oh, that looks so cool.
It's all on
Um,
hills and lots of turns. It's
yeah.
awesome to watch. It's
Again,
fun.
her wipeout and then gains back control
Funny. So
is so cool
they had to blow the tires.
to make that work, really.
Yeah, and to make that like spin the way it did. So that scene where it spins out and turns a whole bunch of times on the dirt,
Yeah.
they had to repair the tires and give the car back. It cost $85,000.
Wow. Worth it because it's such a cool moment. And it's in the
Yeah,
trailer too. Like it's just
it
an
was a
awesome
Ferrari. I was
moment.
right.
There you go. Yep.
Off the dome. No notes.
No notes.
No notes this
We've
time.
seen it enough times. Sorry that I didn't get it.
It's okay, buddy.
But yeah, you got yeah, DB5 gets to be in action.
And it looks great. The camera eye fucks the shit out of it.
It already has some gadgets in it. Not anything too crazy, but
No.
it's got a little readout thing and it's I guess
Yeah, the quick facts and the
yeah,
listen like they
yeah,
do you remember
yeah.
back in the day when we used to have
It's
to
got
like
your Dom
plug
Perignon in it or whatever, like
we'd have to listen to our music on our iPods. We would have to plug into the iPod and find an AM radio station that wasn't being used
right.
to
Doesn't
listen
matter
to
for
what was
Bond.
being. Yeah, that's what Bond basically was doing with those faxes and get because he was plugging like 85.5 AM to get
Yeah.
the readout of what the Moneypenny's message.
Gotta love it.
But yeah, like the racing scene is great, and I love where it's ladies first with the motorcycle, the bicyclers coming
Oh
up and everything
yeah.
like that.
Because
But
again,
they're
it's such
both so
great
playful and having
mannerisms.
a great time.
Exactly. So much fun. Who is that? The next girl.
The next,
Like it's just like, oh great.
I love a spirited driver's next. That's the next girl. Who's that? The next girl.
And then after you. And like there's
Yeah, I
so
love
much
it.
of that where like or he'll do a
He's
little
so
playful
goddamn
nod and
smooth.
yeah. And again, and then she's got this gorgeous grin on her face as she's going from her car
$1 million
too.
smile.
And it's just like this back and forth is so much fun. Like the dopiest thing you get here is where all the bicyclists fall over,
Mm.
but that's still fun with what they're doing and it
Martin Campbell is
fits.
one of those bicyclists, by the way.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah,
funny.
yeah. What would be next?
Um,
I guess the
I have more of a write up than you probably. Hold on.
Okay, I was gonna say the I don't know if you want to talk about
Blow the
the
gustics.
frigate. But I was gonna say the next big thing would be all the GoldenEye being shot off for the first time in the movie.
Um, yeah, I mean, I guess the next real thing is that I guess he investigates the boat.
Okay, so you do want to talk about frigate? I'm just
I
gonna name
mean,
out the GoldenEye levels.
it's not frigate because he's on like the yacht first. The yacht is where he like
Oh, or he has like the little towel fight with the guy, like Jackie
exactly. I
Chan for
thought
a
the towel fight
minute.
was all right. You know what I mean? It was a
No,
little
it's
Jackie
good.
Chan-ish, but it was okay. You
It
know what I
was.
mean?
No, if I compare you to Jackie Chan at any given moment, that
Yeah.
is always a compliment.
He takes it and flips him down the stairwell, which is nice. And
Yeah.
then it's
And
a
then
nice bomb where he
I,
takes it
I
and
guess,
dabs his
yeah,
forehead. It's
it's
a nice moment.
it's very nice. You're right. Yeah, I
Yeah,
love it.
that's why I wanted to mention it. And then
Hmm.
so that was cool. And the only thing that was like weird was like, yeah, then he goes over to the other boat and all he does is just like, I'm just gonna barge through and try to run through security. It's such a
Right.
weird moment. And he
Yeah,
just
the French
looks like,
military were
oh,
like,
he got away. It's like, what do you think was gonna happen?
yeah, the French military did not look kindly onto a guy just running up to their secret helicopter.
Yeah,
Oh
the
well,
tiger.
I do enjoy the accents there. So am I right then? After that would be the Severnaya
Yes. After
explosion.
that was is yeah, it was back where they get from France to Russia in a helicopter. Um,
I'm assuming they put it on a boat or something.
sure,
I mean, that's a lot
why
of
not?
gas.
I mean, they look very changed, so they must have had some clothes changed somewhere
I
along the lines with
assumed
it.
that wasn't Orumov on the helicopter stealing it. I assumed that was Alec in like a costume because he has somewhat similar hair,
To be honest, it
and
could
then
have
he
been
can put on a
anyone. I
fake
don't think it
beard.
mattered. So this probably goes well in your head, Kenan, that it's they took that helicopter, brought it somewhere to change it to a Ramoff, change costumes, and
Right.
then bring it to Russia.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, whatever. It's nitpicky at that point, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, here they are, and they land, and Boris went out for a
That's the
cigarette.
first miniature in the movie, by the way. First big miniature.
Are you sure there wasn't any miniature? There was miniature work totally when
Oh, no, no, I'm
when
sorry. You're right. The facility blowing up is miniature. You're
that's
right.
what I thought. I was
100%.
like,
Sorry, sorry. Uh, it's a great miniature work. I apologize. You are
yes,
100% right there. The next miniature I did, this is the one that I was like, I didn't realize was a miniature,
yeah.
is the helicopter landing at Severnaya was a miniature. I'm like, no, I didn't. Okay, I didn't pick that one up at all. That's really good. Damn it, they're good.
I'm just saying the miniature work in this movie is still better than Independence Day.
Yeah.
Independence Day, I was hailed, and I mean, still good, but it doesn't hold up as well, I think, as this movie does.
No. In fact, I was watching the behind the scenes stuff after watching the movie tonight, and I'm like, I didn't know that was a miniature.
Yeah,
Shit, they're good. Like all the jet stuff,
yeah.
not just when it's crashing, when they're flying, all miniatures.
Oh
There's no,
wow.
yeah, all the MiGs are miniatures at every moment. I had no idea.
Yeah, I didn't know.
I was like, damn, they're good.
They are
They're
good,
really good.
man. That's
They were like
crazy.
9 feet long, 6 feet wide miniatures, and
Because
they
you
flew
could
like a
really do
hundred.
bad stuff with
You
miniatures.
can. We've
Yeah.
talked about it, but like those miniatures, like I said, 9 feet wide, 9 feet long, 6 feet wide, and they flew 130 miles per hour. They were awesome miniatures.
Dang.
Um, so yeah, you have Xenia shooting up everybody in there, but like yeah, they shoot the GoldenEye, uh, does the EMP, and you have like the MiGs, like two of them just like blow up midair.
Yeah.
One, this is the part the miniature doesn't look great. when the MiG crashes and goes into the satellite. Like the initial crash looks
Yeah,
terrible, but when it goes into the satellite, it looks
I
good.
remember. I usually thought like the stuff that works looks the worst is the satellite stuff because it's like the one
Oh,
time where they decided to go more like,
yeah, it's CGI. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's like, this one shows.
Doesn't bother me at all,
Um,
that part. Yeah.
but I don't know. I thought
Looks better than anything I saw in Johnny Mnemonic
that's for sure.
or Congo.
Because I think so much, I guess, around that crash too is done so well as everything's
I,
like come crashing in, and I like too that it's like it's a
all
lot more
all the electronics
practical.
are getting the quickening,
Right,
the
sure.
animated
But I just
electricity.
mean like all the steel and the wiring all come crashing down and some
Oh, that's
fire and
all
stuff like
awesome.
it's all looks really cool,
So
and
many explosions.
you gotta love the tense moment they do have when they do hear the cup break or whatever, and like so Xenia goes to check it out or whatever, right? Like they do a good job of like some heartbeat stuff in that. Like it's a nice little tense. It's like this is like a little again a little bit of a horror moment with the they have this little heartbeat thing going on with it. It's like, oh, okay, dang, like I like it.
Heartbeat thing?
Yeah, the sound wise, they have like a little like boom,
Oh,
boom, like thing like going on in that moment,
okay.
which I really dug. But anyway, yeah, and of course her everything's like destroyed and she tries to get out of the station and then the top part comes crashing down too and then she's got to
But
dive out of the way. It's
you got
nice.
the cat the TV's falling on her
Yeah,
and
that's what I
it's
meant.
killing
Yeah,
her, and then the satellite goes through. It's it's awesome. It's a really cool, and like she never we'll talk about more about Natalia later, but she's never annoying in any of this. Like it's all like perfectly
yeah,
natural reaction to all this horror happening in front of her.
for sure.
So I like that scene a lot.
I agree. Yeah, we'll talk more about her. But yeah, it's
Uh
funny too. This is exactly when I went to lots of fun miniatures.
yeah. The next big thing, I guess, is the escape from the Russians.
No, the next thing I have is the pool steam
Oh, okay, sure.
is
Yeah.
the next one that I have.
All right. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah,
That's a
which
good
is
fight.
fun,
That's a fun
right? Yeah,
fight.
it's a fun fight, right? So he's swimming in the pool and then he notices someone is walking in, all of a sudden extra steam's coming
Oh,
out.
you
And
see,
it's a
like he's got his eyes closed the whole time, so he think the movie it makes you think that he doesn't know. He just sees the steam,
oh yeah, he sees the steam
but he
coming
knows
out. But
exactly where she is.
and that's a great bomb moment because he doesn't even look. Like
Right.
he just his head is forward. And he just goes to the side and grabs and throws her, and it's just great moment. It's a great Bond moment of like, oh man, he's just awesome. And then immediately, um, they kiss and well, he
He,
points the gun at her. He goes up like in her face. He's like, "That's close enough," which is a great moment. It's a great moment. That's close enough as he's like on his face, basically, right? And then they kiss. He throws the gun, right, and he bites the lip and he throws
she bites
her.
the lip.
Right,
Yeah,
that's what I
yeah.
meant. Yeah, and which is great. And then she starts doing her whole thing, right? And I
Oh, you think
love
you
her
can break
lines of
me?
exactly, you think you could break me, you think you could hurt
Yeah.
me, right? And like she does this like running like knee or drop kick to his rib cage that looked like it hurt.
hmm
You know what I mean? It looked like good physical, like ow. Like it
She's great in all her action scenes.
yeah, it
Great.
really looked like she got him good in the ribs. And so that was great. And then you gotta I know everybody likes to mock his hurt acting, but I don't know, like it looks legitimate when he's getting squeezed. Like
Just this
like
is
I
one of
just
we are fans of the James Bonding podcast. We have nothing bad to say about either Mats.
yes, I
One
agree.
of the Mats has a bit of an issue with Pierce Brosnan's hurt acting.
Yes.
We politely disagree.
Agreed. Yes.
Yes.
Agreed to disagree there on yeah,
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
exactly. And I so I enjoy it.
Especially
And
with his overabundance love of Roger Moore.
yeah.
No.
So anyway, like you gotta I love again, as we already mentioned, the slamming against the wall, which has just looked like ow, right? And but that still does like because I think she says you think you hurt me after that, which is great.
But
And
she's
that's
laughing and enjoying every
yeah,
time he fights back
yeah.
until
She's doing the whole like yes, yes thing,
he puts her
right?
on the hot coals. He sits her
Yeah,
down, and at the same time, another guy comes in the room, and he's like throws a bucket at his face and knocks him out. And that's
yes.
where he picks up the gun and says the immortal line, "No, no, no, no more foreplay."
Blearch, great,
Yeah,
good. It's a good scene.
right. And then we get the escape from the helicopter that he gets caught in, or he's tied up.
Yeah. That's kind of well. First, he judo chops her in the back of her neck to
Oh,
knock her
you want
out,
to
which
talk
is
about
fun.
that?
I did. I
I
well just because it was a judo
I
chop.
I
I had
know,
to
I
mention
hear
it.
you. I was like, oh no, they didn't do
Yeah,
that.
they did a judo chop. It's
Yeah,
there. But you do have the enjoyment of her being really fun and that. Yeah, yeah, pleasure all yours again. Yeah,
yeah.
which is fun. But yes, after that, he wakes up. Uh, Mister, wake up! Like
She's so
this.
good in this movie.
He's really good in that moment because he's like, do something. Like, it's great every time. Like, don't just stand there, do something. Like, Bond, you waste of space, basically. She like calls him out several times for
Oh,
this.
yeah, definitely. Well, it's not. Yeah, uh, yeah. So they tie them both up into the Tiger helicopter, and they set a timer for a missile launch, which heat-seeking missiles which are going to come back at the Tiger,
Yeah.
and but they're tied up, so Bond doesn't have his hands to stop it in
I
any
like how he
way.
even says it. Like, I'm tired. Forget, never mind. Like, he's like, it's not going to matter to you. Like,
So he has to do like the head button to the eject button,
well, he does it first to the board or whatever
right, to
first.
try to get the propellers start to go.
Yeah. Yeah, and then that's when he hits the side thing, the as the missiles are coming back, right? And you get the nice music kicking in, the the propellers launch out, and then they basically get launched up to eject right as the explosion goes right below them, and then they parachute down. And it's another cool moment. Like,
Mm-hmm. Another, if you saw it, that's another great miniature stuff there. Just
yeah,
awesome. Okay. And then you have the escape from the Russians.
yes.
Before we can get to the tank, Tim.
Well, yeah, no, there's other stuff first. Sure. I'll give it to you. Sure, there's other stuff first.
All right. So we're in the interrogation room. Orumov storms and kills the defense secretary and
Put
a
the town
guard.
general. I'll come back to that.
Okay. Tosses the gun back to Bond and says like you killed them both and now you try to escape. And
Again,
so
another great Urumov unhinged moment.
right, he definitely seems to be like desperate at this moment.
Yeah.
So Bond has to escape, and another
She
great.
kicks the chair, I think.
You remember right?
I think
Another
she kicks the chair to get him down or something, and that's when Bond finishes the job basically after that.
yeah,
But I
but
think it's her
another
that
great
kicks the chair.
GoldenEye level in this
Yeah. And
with
a
the
way
archive.
to unlock by a code to make that level bigger in multiplayer.
Oh,
Did you not know
okay.
that? It's a fun one.
I don't think I ever.
You can get to the records room and everything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Um, fun level. Anyway,
Agreed.
we get a next Bond gadget in this action beat with
With the belt.
the cable from the belt. I love where he
But
takes the belt off and
yes.
like starts like, what are you doing? And he's like, trust me.
But it's such more of a I know this looks stupid. Can you just trust me?
Just roll with it, baby.
Like I know this is a Bond movie. Could you just go with it? Like that's what almost
Trust
comes off, but it's
me.
delivered
Yeah.
again expertly. Like it's so
Right.
good.
Lots of running around. She falls through one of the grates because they're on level. Oh, well, first you get the
Well, they're
bookcase.
shooting at it, which it's weird that they're like running, but somehow they shoot enough for it's a little wonky on that
One of
moment.
the
Like
great.
it's a
She falls
little
through the grates. Before that, you
yeah.
get all the bookcases that he knocks down to
Yeah.
seal the
Which she
doors. They're
helps
down.
to
So they're
do.
down below, and they start shooting at the up through the grates. One of the grates falls out, and she falls down with them. So Bond has to escape on his own and try to catch up.
There's a
And so
couple of shots here that don't quite work where like there's just guys pointing up and you just also is a close-up shot of him going like this and then like guys going oh and get throwing back. You know what I mean? Like it's like there's a couple like weird stuff like that, but like whatever.
regardless, I want to talk about him going onto the cable, flying through the archive and out the window and landing.
Kicks the guy in the face first.
It's nice.
before he goes. It's really Indy Jones moment actually.
You're right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of him. But yeah, he kicks a guy and then goes out the window and it's good.
And as he's got out of the window, he notices Orumov and Natalia are getting away in a car. And Bond needs a transport to go and catch up after them and sees only one option. It's a big fucking tank.
It's a tank. And it's great. You got this like like almost like like quiet music type of deal.
Mm.
And like Arumov thinks like he's gotten away and he's like looking back and then
You just see the brick wall.
just a brick wall. And
Yeah.
then and then boom, a freaking tank. And it's I'm sorry, pound for pound, the best Bond moment I've ever seen in my life. Nothing will top it. When I saw that theater, I was like, "Oh my God,
It's top three.
that is
It might be number one, but it's
amazing!"
top three.
I don't think
Uh,
there's anything more badass and cool than that moment of
okay.
him coming through with that tank, and it's just like, and again, the
This
villain be like, "Oh my God,
this tank chase took 4 weeks to film.
I
They,
believe it."
they had 18 weeks, 110 days of shooting, and this scene took 4 weeks.
And
Um, and it is a
great.
mixture of an actual tank with like they switched out the treads for rubber, so it
Mm,
didn't destroy streets. And it's some of it is filmed in St. Petersburg, some of it is filmed in recreation with in the backlots, in the
mm,
streets, and everything like that. And some of it, like I said, some of it's real, some of it is miniature. So anytime it's running into anything, the tank that is like brick or like when it's going through the alley, that's a miniature. When
that's
it's like
impressive.
going over the cars, that's a miniature.
It's impressive. How do they create the weight effect of that? That's so
They're
nuts
really
to
big
me.
miniatures. When
Yeah,
it goes through the Perrier truck, that's a real tank.
I remember seeing that in the special features back in the day.
Yeah, they cut up the Perrier tank into three sections and
Yeah,
smushed it all together. And half of it was real, filled, half of the cans are filled with water, half not. And they revved that baby up to about 50 miles per hour and smashed through.
it's great.
Uh,
It's a great moment.
yes, I'm pretty sure when hits the statue and the statue's on top of it, also a miniature. Uh,
Yeah, and you gotta love
and so
too
like the
how he
miniature work is just like it's
the
just incredible.
horse, the guy on the horse thing falls
Yeah.
off, hits the two cop cars. Eventually, the tank breaks, and they drive right into the tank. And then Bond fixes his freaking tie
Yeah.
while
Well, I
driving the
love it.
tank.
He like looks back like, did I hit something?
Yeah, and then yeah, then fixes it. It's just like what a Bond moment. And they'll try to recreate it later, and just like, just don't try to recreate it. That's
Oh, you mean when it goes underwater? Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly
I'm pretty sure that was like a whole flourish that Brosnan did himself too. So it's just,
with the tie.
yeah. But
Well,
it's
he wore a lot of ties. He definitely did more tie than a lot of Bonds. But
pretty sure we get him in a tux in every movie.
no, you
Um,
do. But you there's a lot more of just him in a regular old suit. I feel like than a lot of Bonds. Um,
um, but
even a
this
lot of the
is
publicity stills. Even when I was like kind of looking to prep for the podcast, visual wise, a lot of stuff is with him in a tie.
this is definitely the best action sequence in the movie. And it's breathtaking. It is such a great chase scene. I mean, like
It's great.
James, this is so quintessentially Bond too. Because
Yeah,
what's everyone talks Mission Impossible. That's the spy series for them nowadays. I'm like Ethan Hunt is a tryhard. He's going to find the most difficult way to do everything. Bond always looks for shortcuts. And this is like the
sure.
most like anybody's going to have fun while doing it. So this is like the most perfect Bond thing ever where he's like,
Yeah,
"Ooh, a tank." And you could see how much fun he's having during it too.
yeah,
It's
exactly.
it's such a cool great scene.
It is. Even when like they after he makes his little tunnel through the little mini tunnel
Goes through
thing,
the
right?
alley and makes his
Goes to
own.
the alley, right? Makes his
Yeah,
own,
yeah.
and then the police or whatever, the troops that are chasing him, and they're like, "Oh, no, river!" Right? And then they shoot off into the river, which is fun. And then the next one doesn't see it too, and then they jam into the other car, and it slightly it doesn't go crazy explosion, but it goes on fire as they get launched into the river, and it's like that's awesome too. Like
Yeah, oh, it creates a whole build up there, which the
yeah.
tank has to go backtrack and go over that
Yes, and then it runs
built
it
up.
over.
Yeah,
There's so much fun.
Hmm.
in almost every moment. It's crazy how long that tank thing goes on for, and it's
I
enjoyable
love that he
every
somehow
freaking
gets away
second.
from the cops in this tank too. Like the all
Yeah.
points bulletin in St. Petersburg wasn't working. Nobody could find the tank after a moment.
Yeah, because even like towards the end of the tank, like he just like slowly like comes across the
Oh,
train.
it's a
It's like,
sneaky
oh, here
tank.
they are.
Yeah. they, they're getting
It's
on
the
a train
tank
about
like
to get
right
away, and
there.
nobody notices the tank. And like, you're like, oh, it's a tank. Yeah. Nobody heard that giant diesel engine
Oh,
come.
okay. I think I know where those tracks are going. I'm gonna drive over
Oh,
here then.
yeah. Somehow the tank gets ahead of the train. Like, sure.
I guess they are not departing it. Yes, their departure time is not now. Okay, like
I
it's
know a
like
shortcut.
sure.
I know how to get to that tunnel before them.
I love
What?
it, man.
All right.
I love it. That whole action sequence, I could watch it over and over again. The
It's
amount of
awesome.
destruction they do in it
It's
is so
so
good.
good. Like the miniature work and all this stuff is so good and realistic that somehow, like the Russian press or whatever at the time, and obviously not like the mainstream Russian press at the time, but there isn't one now, anyways. Who cares?
Yeah.
Believe that they were actually destroying the monuments in St. Petersburg. Like these Westerners are destroying our monuments. And it's like, no, man,
No.
it's all
No.
good. Look, it's still there. Um, great.
It's
So
great.
then you got the tank. There's the tank versus train, where he shoots the train and it derails the train when the train runs into the tank.
Just going to derail us. Just love it. It's so good.
The escape from the train, which more laser watch action.
Yeah,
And
I like the moment too. It's like I gave you the same 6 minutes you gave me. We have three
what does that
minutes.
mean? We
What?
have,
It's a great moment too.
yeah. Um, and
And
then
it's
yeah,
a nice
another
like
great
she's like reading
explosion when the
off
tank.
where it's going to and like and he's trying to give her time updates and it's a nice little tense moment. Actually, my bad. That's where the heartbeat thing starts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, but anyway, great explosion when they escape from the train and it legit does explode. It's a really nice
Yeah,
explosion.
it is a nice explosion. I agree. Yeah. But that's kind of
Uh,
where all of a sudden she's like, hmm.
yeah, that's really like I am horny now. Let let us
Like
fuck.
she kept saying when they first met, like, I don't know you, I don't know you, and like is really resistant in that moment. It's like, okay, I think I know you now. Let's go to Cuba. Let's go to Cuba. I
Booba.
will plan the travel. What? Do you know how to disarm the weapon? I'm like, okay. You got me there.
All right, and then the next big action sequence is well, first I want to talk about the stunt of the plane landing over the BMW.
Oh, I didn't even include that. Okay, fair
I
enough.
know you wouldn't because I wouldn't think of it either. But then I saw like a bit on the behind the scenes, like yeah, we had a 71-year-old man who said he could do this. So the BMW is going at a certain speed, and the plane has to just barely cruise over this BMW and land. And like, oh, they really did this. This is actually kind of scary now that I think about it. Oh shit.
What is with you in moving vehicles? I think is what she says after that too, which is like, oh, that's appropriate.
Yeah, no, it's very fair.
Yeah.
Fair criticism by
That's why I
Stalin.
feel like you can always find a crazy pilot being like, yeah, I could do that.
Yeah. Um, And yeah, then we have the rocket attack from under the
Yeah, it
water
comes
with
out of the water to shoot the plane or whatever. Plane goes
Bond's flying.
down,
Yeah,
which I'm
plane,
assuming is nice miniature work again, I would
really
assume.
nice miniature work.
Because
Yes,
like I was like, this looks legit. I don't know. This looks
it's
good.
great
Yeah.
miniature work. It's like you know what I'm watching this movie and I'm watching all the amazing miniature work. I'm like fucking CGI. Like
Yeah.
they and I'm like even the sets, like the facility set and the set where like the GoldenEye like the Cuba base is. I'm like nowadays it's just all just like bullshit green screen
Yep.
and like nobody bothers to build. And like, okay, so this is why movies cost. Like this movie cost, spoiler, from me later, $60 million to make, which is like $124 million today. Nowadays, they're making this movie. It costs like $300 million because everything
Yeah.
is green screen to fuck. Because they have to like animators have to come in and make this all look somewhat
Well, and
plausible. It never
especially
looks as good as
it's
this.
crazy too when you think about how underpaid those people are and how
Yeah.
bad all of
Oh,
that
the hours
is
are
in the industry.
ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah, and we know somebody who's was in that industry and it's like, wow, yeah, no, that's not cool at all. And so it's crazy. that's what we've relied on, but I guess it still ends up being cheaper.
It's not. It's not because of all the overtime
Or maybe
and
is it faster? I guess. I don't know. It's
I
weird.
I I think it's laziness more than anything
Yeah,
else. It's like
maybe.
we don't want to have spend the time.
We don't
Just
want to be delayed or anything. Like
yeah,
you
it's like so how much time do you have for these actors to do this stuff and like pull stuff? It's just and then the movie, they're like, oh, the animal CGI will take care of it. CGI will take care of it. It never looks as good as it could because they don't give these guys enough time to fill in all the shit that they have just thrown
yeah.
at the animators to do
I
that.
think you're right. I think that's dead on.
Yeah. So you think it's like, oh no, I work with somebody, right?
Hmm.
Who is obsessed with getting lower freight bills. So he buys extra product because there's a discount when you buy an extra product. So the freight bill goes lower. I'm like, but you've bought more material than we needed. So we didn't actually save any money.
Yeah.
So this is like the exact same, I feel like what Hollywood's doing. Like, oh yeah, no. It was cheaper to like uh not build the set. We'll just have the animators do the CGI people do this.
Yeah.
The actors could all go faster and it's like no, but now your movie's going to cost like $300 million when it could have cost like half of that if you just built the damn set. They, they just want to, yeah,
Yeah.
they're not thinking that far ahead.
No, 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 no. Not at all. I think you
But
got
yeah,
it.
so let's talk about the Xenu fight.
Yeah.
They crawl out
It's a
of the
nice
plane
moment
after it
because he's all
explodes,
like
and
concussed,
yeah,
right? And then all of a sudden he's like, "What?" And then she descends upon him.
in her
And
dominatrix outfit, all meshed up like
yeah.
the bad guy henchman from Commando, except her
Okay.
outfit fits.
Fair enough. I thought she was like, yeah, no, I got like that. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, like totally like drops him, drop kicks him kind of deal from
Hmm.
her rope coming down
I like
and
that she
just
went spread eagle going down, and then all of a
yeah,
sudden when she's getting near him, it's like, ooh, I'm going
yeah.
drop
And
kick,
just
like you
starts
said.
wailing on him basically, just kicking his
Now the
butt.
pleasure will be all mine.
Yeah, rightfully so, because it's like you get him when he's clearly like it's amazing what else he did after
I
this.
love
Like
when
he should
Talia
be
comes
dead.
over to try to help and like tries to like swing the gun at him. She just catches it with
Oh,
one hand, like wait your turn, and just throws her
it's
away.
great moment, but it was like the
Uh,
right distraction enough for him to like
Clips her. Yeah,
clips her, shoots the driver of the helicopter.
we call them
Um,
pilots.
sure, whatever. And the helicopter pulls away, and then I
It
again,
chokes her to death.
what a
Yeah.
great reaction when she realized what's happening too, because it's like, oh! And then like
Yeah.
you know, what I mean? And then yeah, and then she gets choked and squeezed out, and it's like she always did, like a good squeeze. It's like
Yeah.
that's probably your cheekiest one out of the whole movie,
But
but
it's
I'll allow
earned.
it.
It's
Yeah,
earned.
it's very much earned. Yeah,
um, and yeah. So then there's the tumble down the
the
satellite, which
satellite.
is
Yeah,
kind
they
of
all slide
cool.
down. Yeah, and he
The
like
slide
catches
down was
her
yeah.
right there at the end, which was nice. Yeah,
And then the escape from the GoldenEye base with the
yeah. I mean,
pen.
I like the
I
pen
love voice.
stuff.
I don't think it actually matches up to how like the pen is supposed to work,
It's supposed to be
especially the
clear
counter.
clicks.
Three
I've always
clicks,
been
four
curious to
seconds.
count it, but
I tried in this movie. I'm like, that doesn't seem to be
because when does
correct.
he start counting it? Because there's a couple times it's just two clicks, and it's like, what? Like,
Doesn't yeah. Well, he'll do like three clicks and then he'll do a fourth click, and I'm like, well, you need to do two more and make it stop. He
yeah,
didn't do two more. It's been more than 4 seconds, and then he does like six clicks. And I'm like, I don't know where it is anymore. Like
whatever.
Bond is like using the force, trying to like
Yeah, you
concentrate.
because you really see him like, I think what's happening, but like, yeah, you gotta
Yeah.
like how he's. Well, although there's a moment there that I think you'd appreciate too before that, where he points out where the servers are or whatever. So then he goes and does his thing. He like kills somebody quick. So then everybody's shooting at him. And that's when he's like setting his mines and stuff like that. But there's a great moment while he's setting his mines and somebody shoots and it like hits, but he just does this like side thing as he keeps programming. So I
You
wanted
know
to
I
bring
loved
that up
it.
because I
You know I loved
know,
it so much
yeah, exactly. It's such
because
another
it's such a
amazing
perfect
moment.
Bond. Like
Yeah,
I've done this a million times. I don't care. Like
like bullet grazing by, like
yeah, he
whatever,
is
no big
bullets
deal.
do not scare me at all.
Yeah, exactly. It's just such a great moment.
Yeah, it
And
is.
it's also great too, right? Because he has the mindset, right? It's almost like he knew that he was gonna set or turn his watch off, and he knew he was going to shoot at him, but he knew there was going to be enough gasoline or whatever leakage from that, which is crazy because then it's like, all right, now I just need to figure out how to get this else to explode. Maybe I can get my watch back. Maybe
Yeah,
someone's going to find my pen. I don't know.
just maybe. Courtesy of
Maybe.
Natalia, who
Yes.
reprograms the satellite, the guidance system.
Right, which is another nice moment too, because I like how she immediately starts wailing on him. He's excited. Natalia! He's so
Okay,
excited.
let's talk about that for a second because
Yeah.
thank you. You're right. I was going to skip it, but you're absolutely right. We should talk about it. She winds up backhands his ass
Yeah.
and across the face. I
Goes
mean,
to
it is like
town.
a
Beats him
and
up.
his ass goes flying, and then it gets kind of weak, like, but
Yeah.
like the backhand is incredible.
It's nice. And you also gotta love Trevelyan just kind of smiling. Like
Yeah,
he's
he's
like,
enjoying
I
the show.
don't like this guy at all
Yeah,
either. Like, so I don't mind this.
he earned it.
Because he has so much disdain for him throughout so
Yeah,
much of this movie. It's like, okay, like, all right, enough now. Okay.
yeah.
Like, it was a nice
He's
little
definitely a
moment.
Revenge of the Nerd bully
Yeah.
there. um. So yeah, eventually Bond counts the
Knocks
clicks
it
correctly,
away.
knocks the pen away, explosions
Boom.
galore.
And there's some
Uh,
good fire stunt work. There's some people on fire.
yeah, yeah.
So that was cool, and a lot of explosions with it. So there
Mm-hmm.
was some good stuff with that. Like, they immediately run for the elevator,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
I'm
So
fine, by the
all
way.
that
Thanks
was
for
fun.
asking.
Yeah, and we'll get to her more later. But yes,
Yeah.
I and you know, they get up to the elevator. He knocks a guy out by surprise up top. Right? Something we've
Oh
seen this
man,
sometimes.
how good was Natalia's butt looking in that scene where she's fake knocked out?
Oh yeah,
I was like, hey,
yep.
look at that. She's got a butt. We didn't know about that. Where was she hiding that thing?
Well, I mean, she's been clothed so much, right? We only
Yeah,
got a
but all of a
front.
sudden these cargo pants are showing. Like, whoa, look at that.
We only got that front quick view, blurred almost, of
Yeah,
her in a bikini. So
it's the mid '90s. People think we don't like butts at this point. Like, no, no, where you been hiding that thing?
yeah,
Ooh.
yeah. Um, and yeah. Anyway, gives her. We'll talk about the gun thing later because I enjoy that for more for her. But
That's
anyway,
fine. Yeah, it's fine. As long as we're going to
yeah,
talk about
he
it, I don't
goes
care.
on the run because now he has got to dismantle this thing because he's not sure how long Boris might be able to undo what she did or whatever.
And can he break her
Uh,
codes? Possibly.
yeah,
Possibly. All right.
yeah, and that's when Sean Bean and him now are back and forth, right? And you gotta
Oh,
love the he's running through
it's
the
the most.
catwalk
Okay.
and
Yeah.
he's on the elevator coming up and
Yeah. The
he's like
little.
shooting at him and and he's shooting back and it's this nice little like back and forth thing where they're unloading quick or whatever and then going and then he's out of bullets and he's got to drop it and run. It's like a nice little
That's
Bond
all
versus
fine.
Bond.
It's a nice little appetizer. It's when they get inside like the
In the
satellite,
little
whatever.
unit area or whatever. Right.
Yeah, when they're duking it out. It is the most brutal fight in Bond franchise history since From Russia with Love, with him,
Yeah.
Sean Connery, and Roger Moore,
Because
because they
again,
are
it's like
wailing on each other
really
in the
equals to where
cramped
they're like,
quarters.
we know what each other are gonna do, so now we gotta try some wild stuff.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like
and
at
they
one
both
point he
give it
just
good to each
throws a
other.
chain across, but it
This
misses and it
is
hits.
yeah, it's a good fight.
And there's even one moment too, and I swear it might be one of the few only times I've ever seen it in a Bond movie where it almost comes off as martial arts, where Sean Bean exactly goes
Yep,
like it starts blowing on him, but then Bond is
Bond blocks
block,
it.
block,
Yeah,
block, and it's like, oh my gosh, I've never seen something like that before. Like it's really cool, at least in a
yeah.
Bond movie, you know?
Not to that point. No,
Yeah,
it's a great fight scene.
it is.
And then, like you said, Trevelyan gets the gun, and it's just
Which
like,
is great because Bond like looks like only a little like
yeah, he doesn't look nearly as beat up as Trevelyan is at this point.
Trevelyan looks more beat up, but he's got the upper hand now.
Right. It's
You know,
like
I always thought I was better.
I was always better, and that's where
Yeah.
like Bond like kicks the ladder out, and the ladder goes flying down. Some
More
glass.
hurt, more hurt one, yeah.
But you know what? That would hurt.
I would
Especially
make that reaction.
if you catch that with one hand with that velocity of the ladder going down, I think that was realistic.
Isn't it more weird if they don't make a more of a
I
reaction?
agree.
Yes.
Um, And I love Trevelyan just like sliding down the ladder and just like smashing his hands. He's like, oh, and he goes flipping back.
Well, yeah, well, first he slides and kicks him down, and he luckily grabs the last ladder.
Right.
And then he slowly goes down and then
Oh,
kicks
and
his
then
hand
he
slowly.
smashes his hand. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he
It's-
drops to the even littler little
and
platform
and
thing.
yeah, they're on this like tiny platform. Trevelyan definitely has the upper hand until the
Yeah.
helicopter that he called shows up, and Natalia has
Distracted by Natalia again.
commandeered it, and that's all Bond needs. He kicks him off and
Grabs his legs
grabs his
before he
legs at the
fully
last second
falls.
before he's gone.
For England, James?
No, from me.
Ah!
But he's not dead.
Yeah, they show him land. They show a close up of him landing, and he just
Yeah.
goes, "Huh."
Ugh. Like, my man, you are a puddle. That's what you
Yeah.
should be.
From
But
that height, yeah.
fine, whatever.
But
Because you're
then
gonna,
the entire satellite structure from up top,
yeah.
great explosions as this
Be
thing falls on him. And he's like, ah,
this thing just blew up because there was one pipe in a gear.
yeah, yep. Which,
um,
by the way, I gotta backtrack here a little bit to
okay.
the reveal of the satellite and how this is where the special effects don't quite hold up because
I
it's like
haven't.
it's so badly reversed, like it's so just rewound.
Oh, they just used the same effect again with the satellite. Yeah, it doesn't bother me at all.
This one does a little bit because I think it's like slightly lazy or slightly like, you know what? It looks cool that the water shoots up. Why would the water shoot up if it's draining?
Oh, you're talking when the satellite is straight. Okay.
When the satellite is it's revealing itself
Oh, okay. I'm
and the
sorry.
water comes in.
The dish. Okay, I thought you were talking about the
Well,
CG of
no,
the
yeah, no,
satellites in
I
the
hear what you
sky.
mean. Like this, the
Sorry.
dish, sorry, the satellite dish or whatever, right, is revealing itself, and the water's coming down, and then like it's cool, but at the same time, it's like this is clearly just done backwards. Like they just reversed it. Because where it gets really bad is where all of a sudden, towards the end of the water coming down, it just starts to shoot up in the air in a weird way to come in. And it's like, what?
Yeah, you're probably right. Not the
What's going
miniatures.
on?
Probably not the miniatures finest hour, but you had to watch this movie like 60 times to really pick up on that. So,
Oh, it's actually this one's always bothered me.
oh, okay.
It's always bugged me. It's like I get it looks cool, but it's so like really
Hmm.
we could have done better here.
Yeah. Um. So, that's
That's
it.
yeah, that's
That's it.
basically
That's it.
it. Well, I mean,
Like
he
the
does get one
satellite blows
final
up, and
leap to the helicopter.
you know, I played the game originally. I didn't make the leap correct.
Seriously?
There's no jump button, so I was confused. So I
Yeah.
died the first time. I was like,
What?
I think
What
the game was nice to me after
okay.
that. Yeah, yeah. Um, so anyway, yeah, that's basically it for the action. What did you give the action for
I
this
gave it a
movie?
five.
Yeah,
I gave it a five.
it's like this movie is 2 hours and 10 minutes, but the pacing is amazing, and
It's clean, man.
each action scene feels unique and exciting. And
There's a
you know
little
about me
bit,
with pew pews, I'm like,
yeah.
they're never boring in this movie ever,
They're not. They're really not. And
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 everyone's
I
holding the guns the right way.
I feel like there's a little bit of a action drag in between before you get to the tank thing. There's a little bit of a drag there, but they pick it up in such a way that it's like, all right, I who cares? I don't even remember.
Hmm.
Um I just noticed because I watched it like three times basically this week.
It's a
Um
lot of times. Okay.
well, never in like full sittings, but yeah. It's again, it's got one of my favorite Bond moments of all time with the tank sequence and everything. And to be honest, like I way more enjoyed the ending action sequence between him and Alec way more this time
Hmm.
than I think I remembered. Um, so yeah, five.
All
It's a
right.
good time.
Supporting characters. Should we do with Natalia first? The Bond girl?
Sure, that
Okay.
works. She's
Is it
smart.
Isabella Scorbucco? Scorupo? I've never been able to say her name right. I love her.
Natalia? What?
Her real name, the actress's real name.
Oh, okay.
Um, she's an excellent Bond girl. She doesn't really ever need rescuing because Bond has to rescue himself in any situation, more or less, except for like the train situation, I guess. But
Yeah,
even
that
then,
would be the one time.
he's like not really so much as chasing after her. He's chasing after the bad guys. She just happens to be with them.
True, and to be fair too, I
He would have been
think
doing it anyway.
she ends up rescuing him like three more times.
Exactly.
Like the
She is.
him getting captured, it's not without her and the Boris thing that gets him out of that situation.
Hmm.
It's him hitting Xenia that gets him out of that situation, right?
Yeah.
And then
No,
she
she's very
rescues him with the
helpful.
helicopter.
She's helpful. She's smart. She's never annoying.
She's the one
She's
that finds out
funny.
the location.
She's hot.
Yeah.
She's great. She's a perfect Bond girl.
Yeah, she finds out the location. She does the spike, right? She knows where it's at, all that kind of stuff. Like
She's very
she's
useful.
able to put the codes in, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like she's incredibly useful.
Ideal Bond girl.
Yeah. Like and she's got a lot of fun things, Like
Hmm.
again, like the Mister, wake up,
Don't
Um,
just stand there. Get us out of here.
yeah, the computer when she goes to the computer store, the madam does require a demonstration and a
A
quiet
quiet,
place, right, or
yeah,
something, right?
quiet
Um,
place. Yeah.
how's everything going? Everything's great, but the interruption, whatever. It's just like such a man,
And
this
then
woman's
later on,
boss.
when he hands her the gun, he's like, "Do you know how to use this?" And she like perfectly like checks the
Yeah,
bullets and
does
everything,
everything,
talks it up.
and
And
it's
yeah.
just kind of like okay,
Yes.
like
He's like, "All right." She's great. Perfect.
yeah. You also gotta love too, where um, they're like saying how low they have to fly, and she corrects them like 500 feet actually, and then Bond like messes up her last name, and so she also corrects Bond on what her actual last name or how
Yeah,
to
yeah,
pronounce her
yeah.
last name. It's like she's great.
Hmm. Um, should we do?
Fights off Alec from the kissing and slaps him too. Another nice moment from her. Like
Yeah,
she puts up a fight every step of the way.
she's great. Go to Alan Cumming as Boris.
That would be my next one. Yes,
Yeah.
Boris Grishenko.
A great henchman.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
So funny in this.
he's a dude
He's
that's clearly like over his head, but he thinks he's smarter than everybody.
hmm
He is,
he's a twerp. He's a
yeah,
douchebag, but he's funny.
he is so
You're
funny.
laughing at him mostly, but he's like you enjoy it laughing at him. You're not like annoyed
Yes,
by him.
they're in front of you, but what is it? But
They
they
oh no,
open very large doors.
yes.
Yeah.
You sit on it, but you can't bring it with you.
I am invincible.
Yes. Yes. She's a Mora. She works on the guidance system.
The guy with a slug hands. Like that's
Yes.
another one he
So,
loves
I
to say
spiked
too.
them. I spiked them. I love them. I got another
Was it
more.
wait, to take out the satellite? No, it's too early. Like
I'm not ready. Do it now.
yeah. And
I
then
love them.
of course his freakouts too, like toward especially where he's
Give me the
like,
codes to die.
yeah, like he will
Speak to
not do that
me.
again. Yeah, speak to me. Like he's having a full-on meltdown there
So
towards the
funny.
ends.
Love
Yeah,
Alan coming to death.
he's amazing.
Who do you want to cover next?
After that, I go Money Penny in there after that.
Oh, Lois Maxwell. No, Lois
Yeah.
Maxwell. I'm sorry. New one what's her name?
She's the one that she was
Samantha Bond.
yeah.
Samantha Bond.
Yes, yes,
Yes,
yes, yes, yes, yes, yes.
she's an excellent money penny.
She
I really
is,
enjoyed her.
and she's one that's definitely a bit feistier towards Bond.
Mm-hmm.
Again, kind of more of this new age type of thing that I
Right.
like, right? And I like again some of the she doesn't have a whole lot, right? Um,
Yeah.
but there's
Just
a
like one
fun back
scene,
and
really.
forth.
Mm-hmm. It's a good
As far
scene.
as I remember, you never had me, right?
What's
And then
the
what's the penalty or whatever? Or one
Yeah,
day
yeah.
not to
She's like,
make,
eventually this could qualify as sexual harassment. Yeah,
yeah,
what's the penalty for that? One day you have to make good on all your innuendos.
yeah,
It's a really good Bond Money Penny scene.
yeah. It's really so as much as it's like that's basically yeah, it's very little money
Hmm.
penny. Not that you ever get a ton of money penny to begin with,
No.
but it's a memorable exchange between
Hmm.
Bond and Money Penny. It's really fun.
All right. Who do you want to talk about next? I like this.
M.
Judy Dench.
Dame Judi Dench.
Not yet, but yeah.
Yeah,
She
well,
will
she
become
is
Dame
and
Judy Dench.
always.
The balls on this woman from like the
Yeah.
very opening. You're just like, yeah, not to be fucked with.
Yeah, she does not
Supposedly
care.
was very good friends with Bernard Hill,
Oh
the
yeah.
original M. Her first job in like working was on TV with him.
Oh wow.
So she was like super honored to be asked to do the part. Martin Campbell pushed for her personally.
That's cool. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Who would have thought
So
too how long she would end up being M and even staying with the new, the new
yeah, well, considering they were rebooting
timeline
the
basically.
franchise, it was very odd, but it's still like who was complaining about more Judi Dench?
Yeah.
Not me. Bluest eyes I have ever seen this this movie.
I
Oh my
mean,
God. She out
yeah.
blues the eyes of Pierce Brosnan. It's like, whoa, it's a blue eye off, and she kicked his ass.
Yeah, and but I mean, right away too. If I want sarcasm, I'll talk to my children. Like it's just like, oh
Good
my
stuff.
gosh. And then we prefer, unlike the Americans, we prefer not to get our bad news from CNN. Like she's just like, what, like whipping them out. Like, wow,
Mm,
all right, right? Or like Bond's trying to direct her where the was it cognac is or whatever.
I prefer bourbon.
Yeah, and it's just like, oh, all right, here you go. You want ice? Like I don't do ice. Like you want ice? Like it's
All
like,
right.
wow, all right.
Uh, yeah, she's awesome.
Sexist, misogynistic dinosaur, like
Yep, we
just
already
like
talked about that.
she's,
Yeah.
but I'm just saying, like, she also has a small bit, but like memorable moments, like a
Announces
lot of
herself
lines.
very well, and you can see why they push her even more into the franchise, give her more stuff to do because they're like, yeah, more of this. This works great. This dynamic
Yeah.
is fantastic.
Yeah. A relic of the Cold War whose boyish charms, though wasted on me, obviously appeared to that young woman that I
I,
sent you to evaluate or sent evaluate to evaluate you. Sorry, is
yeah.
what it was. Yeah. It was just like, yeah, okay. Like, I don't like you, but clearly you're effective.
Well, and she's like, this is the only time in the franchise where like she's like thought of as like the accountant or the bean count or whatever, the
Yeah.
analyst. Whereas like you think I might,
The
too
evil queen
cautious.
of numbers or something, I think she's called.
That's what Tanner calls her. Yeah, but he's like, you
Yeah.
think I'm too cautious and I only believe in my numbers, but I have no compulsion to send you to your death. I just won't do it on a whim. And
Yeah.
it's just like, yeah, it's cool. And she just sends him on the mission, tells him what to do. It's like, Bond, come back to life. So she's not like, an actual monster. She's great.
Yeah.
And I love her in this franchise. I'm glad she got a proper send off, unlike any other M. She
Yeah.
deserved it.
Agreed.
Who you got next?
Weirdly enough, Dimitri, Michigan.
Dmitry Vladimir Sokovsky? Oh,
Uh,
Michigan.
yeah.
So, Secretary Michigan?
Yes. Secretary of Defense.
Okay, well, it's
Put the down, General.
our second appearance for our boy. What's his name?
I
Uh, Checky Cario? I don't know how to
I
say it.
don't know, but in this
Yeah,
movie, he's
the bad
Dimitri
guy from
Michigan.
Bad Boys.
Yes. 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 Yes.
He's
Because
back.
he is memorable and
Wild facial
charismatic.
hair. All
Yes.
right.
I don't know. I enjoyed him in the the like two scenes he basically had, right? The back and forth between him and Arumov in that council thing was fun, just mostly because of the two of them, because he clearly was like, I don't buy anything that you're putting out here. So I loved that, and then I enjoyed the interrogation scene with him and Bond. Like a lot of that was a lot of fun, and then I love when Rumov comes on. And again, I have done Put It Down General so many
Three
times.
times now. Three times at least. Yeah.
So much fun that I had to
Okay.
mention it, even though it's a sad way to go. But that's all I have to say. But I wanted to put it out there.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
After that, I got Q.
Going to Desmond Llewellyn. Okay. Q is Q. He's great. Fun
Yeah.
fact: he wore that like green suit that he has in that movie for like a week straight, just so he could have like that rumpled look.
Oh, really?
It's
Like
like,
I've been
yeah,
in the lab for a long time.
I'm the guy
I
that's
like
forgotten.
that.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
his own little character choice.
It's
He's good.
so weird. It's this is one of the ones I feel like every Q and a Bond have a slightly different relationship.
Yeah,
And this one is more of I'm kind of annoyed with you and your boys stuff sometimes.
it's a weird transition for Q and Brosnan
Yeah.
because Yeah, he's sort of super annoyed with him for like the first three movies, and then they're kind of like old boys. The last one,
Yeah,
before his final send off, which is beautiful, and I'm glad he had it.
yeah.
Um,
Before
but
R
yeah,
comes in, we don't have to talk about it anyway. It's like this is one of its more whimsical moments in this movie.
it's a great cue sequence.
It
I love it.
is. It's memorable one. The guy in the phone booth. Of course, even the ending part. Don't touch that.
It's
That's
my
my
lunch.
lunch.
Yeah,
It's a memorable moment for sure.
I'm shocked they had the with they were able to like not make that a Subway
I know, right? That would have been
thing
a
there.
prime one for
Yeah,
that, for
yeah.
sure.
Something. Um, so who are we talking about next?
Grow up, 007. Like it's just fun.
Okay.
Um, After that, I got Jack Wade.
Jodan Baker. All right.
Returns to the franchise.
Yeah, yeah. Formerly the villain, one of the villains in Living Daylights. Now playing CIA agent Jack Wade. Um, Muffy?
Buffy. Third, was it third wife?
Third
Third
wife.
ex-wife?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I love Jodan Baker. He only has a couple movies, but
I love him. Um,
he's fun.
I get it because like it would have been weird if it was
He's actually closer to who Felix Leiter is in the books
oh
than
really?
any. Yeah, because Felix Leiter is from Texas, and he's like a good old boy that like Bond just like super enjoys. Because he's like, oh,
Okay.
this is a real American. This one. Uh, so
Okay.
Jodan Baker is very much fun, and very close to like the what Felix Leiter was
Yeah,
supposed to.
he was never the Felix Leiter that I recognized in any of the other movies, so this
No,
one
well,
almost
Jack Lord, puts that image in your mind, like he's American James Bond. Like, okay,
right.
of
But
course,
like
like
yeah, this
we
one
don't
is
get
like
him.
very different kind of character. And I immediately love that he starts calling him Jimmy and
Yeah,
Jimbo. And
yeah,
it's just like I love it. Like I
yeah.
love like this Bond is being called this kind of like here's James freaking Bond being called Jimmy and Jimbo. It's
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's not interested in Bond's legend whatsoever.
like he does not care. And I
No.
love too where he's like nonchalantly like don't go pushing anything. I'm just gonna go strung along, and he catches the keys in his hat and is like
Yeah.
he's so much fun.
Yeah.
Give me the hammer over there. Oh no, the big one.
The sledge.
The sledge. Boom. Like
Well, I love that he's like over the screwdriver first, and then he's like,
yeah, he's doing all this delicate stuff and then he just
yeah.
hits him hard with a hammer. It's fun. I don't who cares
I
that he was in a later earlier Bond movie. Like it's just fun.
I didn't care. I love them. So are we gonna talk about Robbie Coltrane now or
Yep, that's the last one I got.
okay.
That's I saved him for last.
All right, all right. Valentin Dimitrov Sukovsky. You know him? I gave him
I
the
gave him
limp.
the limp. Yeah.
My
It
leg
def
aches every
every
day.
day, twice as much in winter.
Do you know how long the winters last? Tell
Tell
him to be.
Dimitri,
Well, it depends. Shut up.
silence.
That's so good. Who strangled a cat? Strangled a
Wrangling the
cat.
cat. Take a hike. Was it Yelena or something like that?
Irina, take a hike.
Yeah.
That is something.
Mini driver. Gives.
Who got he, poor Minnie Driver, who is like an amazing singer.
Yeah,
It's you see watch Phantom of the Opera. She gets dubbed throughout the whole thing.
it's
Only
so
got only
funny.
got paid $5,000 for that little bit.
Oh,
Yeah,
what a moment though. It's so memorable. Like
it is.
that's Mini Driver. Like
It
it's
is.
such a
It is. And
funny.
it's like
Yeah.
you're like that is definitively Minnie Driver doesn't even
Yeah.
play like anyone else.
And you
Yeah.
gotta love too the whole like Bond's like, I shot you in the knee because it was professional courtesy. Oh, let me do the same to you, whatever. Just shoots, which is another great Bond movie because Pierce Brosnan looks generally like, oh my God. Like
Yeah, not the dick.
like
Yeah.
like it's a
Uh,
great moment.
you love Robbie Coltrane in these movies.
He's so good in this movie. They bring him back in a later one, and it's sadly just not good.
Well, it's so-so. There's some stuff I like about his return. There's some stuff I don't like about his
There's
return.
some stuff I really don't like about his
But
return,
It, it,
but
it does.
sure.
It does. Yeah. It just they kind of make him dumber, which is a
Yeah.
bummer. But But the movies had become dumber by that point anyway.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
it's just more a product of what the movies have become.
They were trying to bring back what worked and just because this moment in the movie was that good. It was a
Yes.
great moment.
Robbie Coltrane is fantastic.
Yeah.
Like the first thing that happens is like Bond puts his gun to his head and he's like, all it's he just hears the click. He's like, Walter PPK. And he starts explaining like all the, it's like 7.62 millimeter. Three men I know have carried it. I believe I've killed two. Actually, it's funny. I was watching behind the scenes. It's like, I would have paid them to let me speak that line. That's such a fun line to say.
I
R.I.P. Robbie Coltrane. Loved you.
yeah. The all the lines he spouts out, how he just completely mocks Bond to his face.
Mm-hmm. I hear the new
Shaken, not stirred, like he's going off to his men, like
I
this
hear
guy's
the
a
new M
clown.
is a lady.
It's great.
Yeah. So is there anyone else you want to talk about? That's
No, that
it.
was my last one.
I
Unless you
don't
got another one.
I don't think there's anyone. I think we've basically covered everybody in this fucking movie
Because there were
now.
so many good side characters. I'm sorry, I went five again.
So did I. This
I gave this
the
movie a perfect score.
the only thing I thought about just like coming down a bit was in villain, but you're right. I can't do it. It's a perfect movie.
It's a perfect
20.
movie.
It's a perfect Bond. It's my favorite Bond. It's a
Yeah.
perfect movie.
The my two gripes about this was first I was always annoyed about the Bond song, but I think again it works because it made that one moment that much
The
more.
Bond theme he's talking about specifically,
Yes,
not the GoldenEye. Just the Tina
correct.
Turner song is
The
great.
Bond song, the Bond
Written by
theme
Bono
song.
and The
Yes.
Edge.
So that it just works so much because of the tank. So I could let that part go. So then my only other real gripe is the Bond car.
So here's the thing with that.
Yeah.
The BMW deal came in like super late into production, so they just did not have time to do anything to it, to like actually, do the gadget stuff with it. Plus, it was a prototype. That's all that was
Yeah.
available to them was like that one car, so they couldn't do anything to
You don't
it.
even get that car in the sequel. You get like a
They get
kind
a
of
new
basic
BMW.
looking
It's a
BMW.
really gross looking BMW in the next car. Yeah,
Yeah, it's real basic looking, which is a bummer, but it's a
great car
memorable
sequence.
moment
Yeah.
of that one. But that, obviously
Another
different,
day,
different.
another
Yeah.
day. Uh, so that's it. Body Mass Alone. You ready to play America's Favorite Game 10?
Fight us alone.
Body Mass Alone.
I don't want to have conversations anymore about dudes' physiques.
Dennis,
and whether they
in
can.
body mass alone.
That's what I was trying to avoid. A conversation about body mass.
Okay.
Um,
There's not a lot of body mass here.
so Pierce, did I already mention this? Pierce Brosnan was the skinniest Bond of all time.
I don't. You commented about his physique, but I don't know if you officially said that he was the skinniest of all time.
6'1", 164 pounds in this movie.
Yeah.
My man is a shrink. My man was not only the lightest James Bond, but the heaviest James Bond because by the time he got to Die Another Day, he had filled out a bit to 211 pounds.
Oh wow.
Yeah. But at
I
six
but
foot
I would
one and
never.
164 pounds, that is thin, man.
Yeah, but I don't think he ever looked like again. He only really had that one moment
Never looked
shirtless.
emaciated or anything, but it's just like
Right.
it's just
Like to
wild.
be honest, I thought dude had a pretty good body, looking body, but yeah, like it's not like he's you know muscular
Well,
dude by any
it's funny. You
means.
look at him shirtless in this movie versus what he looks like in Die Another Day. Like, oh, he discovered pecs and he has
Yeah,
ab muscles now. Look at that. He doesn't have any of that in this movie. He just looks like a
yeah,
normal human being, which is what a spy probably should more look like because you want him to blend in, I would
yeah,
think. But what are you gonna do?
yeah.
I've
And
already
again, your women not too scantily clad either, if that's
no,
what you're gonna
no.
go with either. Yeah. So what
So
do you think?
1.5, really? Two, if I'm being nice.
I went two. I was being
Okay.
nice. I probably being too nice, but yeah.
So okay. So I already
Because
mentioned.
again, not bad. Chest hair, he's again, but yeah.
So I already put most of my miscellaneous stuff, so I'm going to skip to the end for this
Okay.
one. This movie, like I said, a $60 million budget, which is a little over $124 million today. It grossed worldwide 352, well, actually over $352 million. Almost, it is a huge hit, which is a
Is it
little under $729 million today. It was the largest grossing Bond movie since Moonraker and the biggest of all time until World Is Not Enough.
Okay, so that's why I was curious. Like, because what was it? It was Goldfinger for a while. Was that what it was? Or was it Thunderball?
It was Thunderball was the number one, and then
Thunderball.
Moonraker took over, and then this movie took over that.
So wow, yeah, ginormous. And then that's not even counting the movie. Or sorry, the video game that was also
Right, but that doesn't really count to the movie.
No, I know, but I'm just saying like
The
that was it
producers
came
raking
off
it in.
this movie as well, and I'm sure they made some kind of money off of that video game.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And that video game was massive hit.
It's the best from that system.
It
the best of the
changed
era.
video games. Like it changed what multiplayer and all that kind of stuff was. So
When it was released, it debuted at number one. And the other debuts that week were The American President, which came in at number 3,
yeah, okay.
and It Takes Two, which came in at number 4.
Oh,
The Olsen Twins movie with Steve Guttenberg and Kirstie Alley.
okay. I had no idea that came out at the same time. I think
Same
I only
time.
saw that on TV, but
Yeah, I think I saw it eventually. I have no idea how I watched it. Definitely wasn't in the theater, but yeah.
I don't think I saw it in its entirety either. So
That's all I got.
okay,
So
man.
what are we watching next week, Tim?
Well, we were at the point where everything's great. So anyway, there's one movie that I feel like can't be me, and there's one movie that I think has to be last. So my pick, and I'm really excited to make it because it will be a first for this star in our podcast, and I'm gunning for it because we were almost tempted in season 1 to be like, ooh, do we do a bonus episode for him and what he did in 1982? So our next episode is Rumble in the Bronx.
Jackie!
Uncle! Yeah, even though not from but anyway, yes, I'm pumped, man. Rumble in the Bronx.
Rumble the Bronx, great action movie. Jackie Chan is in his prime, and he is kicking some ass.
Oh my gosh, it's great.
Never mind that not 1 second of this movie is filmed in the Bronx. It's cruel, and I don't
It
care.
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Speedboats in the Hudson.
Sure.
Sure.
I'm cool with it. Even the whole outtake stuff at the end for this movie is particularly better than most for his. Like he's got a lot of great outtake end movies, but this is like one of my favorite ones too, because you see that like the cast on his foot thing while he's doing some of the stunts. I'm excited.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch it again. I wish I could watch it on my Blu-ray, but I just found out from Amazon today that I will not be getting it until like basically the end of January. It was supposed to
It'll be
arrive
too late
today.
no matter what. I'm sorry.
Yep. So is what it is.
Maybe a Christmas miracle, girl.
No. So I'll be renting it just like you on Amazon Prime.
I might buy it, depending on the price. We'll see.
Oh, for digital? Sure.
Yeah, we'll see.
I would be.
It's so much fun. It's so much fun. To be honest, I think I need to, just if I see good deals like Jackie bundles, and I just need to start buying them.
I agree.
Because I found Police Story 3 or Super Cop for like $4.99 one time. It was like one of my missing ones I've never watched before. I was like so stupid excited. I was like, I'm just buying this. I don't care. I've never seen it before. I'm just buying it. I was like, I should have just bought it because like it's so good. And like
Yes, it is.
now I'm like, why don't I just own Jackie Chan movies? It's great. And then
I recommend it.
I got stupid excited watching the Karate Kid Legends teaser because I'm like, it's
I
Jackie
haven't seen it
Chan.
yet.
Jackie Chan is so good.
As a guy who owns a Jackie Chan collection and a bunch of other Jackie Chan movies, I agree. Just buy them. They're worth watching.
They're
fun.
so much fun.
Yeah.
Whether it's a good, whatever the rest of it around it, the action in itself is just.
I got
worth
those criterions for the Police Story movies, the first two.
it. I know.
I love them
so
so.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Oh shoot! I forgot to pull up the script because I was going off of the Dome.
The
for this
Dome,
entire
yeah.
episode. Sorry. All right. So you got anything else?
No, that's it. Say bye,
All right.
Pierce.
That is it for us. Please show your support for the podcast by leaving a review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, or wherever you happen to listen to the show. Also, sharing is caring. Be sure to follow us on social media to get the latest show updates. You can contact us by emailing at filmbrochamp@gmail.com or find us by searching for the hashtag FilmBroChamp. Thank you for listening to this episode of Film Bros Championship Podcast. Peace out, everyone.
For England.
Okay.
Wow. Disappointed. Oh, that hurts.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that I disappoint you.
It's fine.